Welcome back to another episode of Stay on Target. I'm your host, Dustin. Thanks for tuning in tonight with us. We got a great show planned for you guys. We got lots to talk about. There is so much happening in Star Wars. There's so much cooking in Star Wars, if we do say ourselves. So, let's get into things. There is a fire in the house of Star Wars, and things are cooking, like I said. So let's get to the rundown before it burns, baby. We got question of the week. Lots of HoloNet news, including Ahsoka Season 2 started filming, Return of the Revenge of the Sith. I always do that. Revenge of the Sith cooks the box office. Tales of the Underworld. May the 4th. We got lots happening. And Andor Season 2. We're going to wrap it up with Andor Season 2, episodes 4 through 6. Non-spoiler and spoiler review. So let's start cooking ourselves. Stop yapping and get into things. Oh, wait. That's what we do. We yap. Anyway, let's get into the show. I got with me the one, the only, the Dan, Pilot Dan. What's up, Dan?
Oh, not much is up. I'm just here. It's Stay on Target Wednesday. Woohoo! Let's go. Gonna have some fun.
Oh yeah,
Trying to talk as fast as I can, but I can't keep up with you.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I talk fast.
You do good. You do good. That's why you are the host.
Right. That is my one skill, and I use it to the best of my ability. Speaking of which, best of abilities and best of the show, it is the fact checker. What's up, fact checker?
I'll be opposite of Dan. Lots is up.
Lots
is up, but it's going to be fun.
It is. And we will have a special guest on for tonight as well. And we can't wait to introduce you to him. He will be here shortly. Don't you worry. He had many things to do. There were many Bothans in his way getting to the show. Or Imperial probe droids, I think, is more accurate, actually. But he'll be with us shortly. So let's keep moving, though. Speaking of people here with us tonight, who is with us here tonight, fact checker, in the chat? I know we got the Gonkers.
Oh, yeah.
Gonkers. Sorry.
For sure. Yeah, so far it looks like we've got Merkins, KG, and Sonia hanging out.
What is up, you guys?
Go.
Thanks for joining in with us. We're excited to talk all things Star Wars with you guys. I'm sure more people jump in and out as we go through the show. But let's jump right into question of the week. Question of the week, everybody, is...
Stinger?
Oh, yeah. Do this.
Can you speak Bocce?
Of course I can, sir. It's like a second language to me. I'm a
All right,
spirit.
shut up. I'll take this.
Shut up, sir.
Luke!
Stingers. They're a wonderful thing. I love them. Their tails are made of ribbon.
Yeah.
Made of string.
Bouncy
Flouncy. You were about to go there,
Are
weren't
you
Dan?
going? Are you going Tigger?
I was going Tigger.
Winnie the Pooh. I love it.
Winnie the Pooh.
Oh man.
Oh man. Were these episodes poo? I don't know. We'll have to talk about it.
Oh, dear.
All right. Speaking of which, question of the week. We got, what was your favorite episode from Andor episodes 4 through 6? Or did you just watch Revenge of the Sith? That's the question of the week. We got lots to talk about with it. We're going to get to it a little bit later, but we're going to talk about it right now. So, Dan, do you have an answer for me?
No.
Fact checker.
Let's go to the fact checker.
Fact checker, do you have an answer for me?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess I watched them all.
Yes, you did.
So is there a fifth option?
Oh yeah, all of the above.
All of the above.
But it's what was your favorite?
That's true. Oh, man. Probably Revenge of the Sith this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's a bummer because I wanted Andor to be better, or expected it to be better this chapter, but
Right.
I was a little disappointed, I think, upon reflecting since last night.
I know. I'm curious to hear everyone's thoughts after watching it. So lots to discuss in that regard. But good thoughts, fact checker. Anything else you got for me in regards to that question?
No. Do
Okay.
I need to?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Whew, got me nervous for a second.
No. I just want to make sure I covered everything. I didn't want to cut you off. What about you, Dan?
Repeat the question one more time.
Yes. What was your favorite episode from Andor season 2, episodes 4 through 6, or
4.
did you just watch Revenge of the Sith?
Out of 1 through 6,
Dead.
I'm gonna say number 4. Actually, in retrospect,
Nice.
was my most favorite.
That was your favorite
Yep.
episode.
Yep. I didn't watch Revenge of the Sith. Unfortunately, my schedule did not allow it, but I know you guys did, and
Shun the
I'm
non-believer.
excited. I know. I'm excited that a lot of people chose to go see it and that it's making a lot of money. That makes me happy.
Yes, and we're going to get into that later as well. We have to discuss that
Yeah.
because that is actually some big news and shows a lot of the state of Star Wars, in my opinion, right now. Dan, I think, are we ready for?
I think so.
All right,
I
cool.
think we've got somebody here.
We do have somebody here, and I can't wait
that
to
you
hear his
might-
answer to the question.
Yeah. All right. Let's see if I can. Let's see if it works. Do we have a Bismo here?
What's up, Biz?
Yes, we do. We do. Thanks for having me, guys. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. There was some aggressive negotiations going on, but I'm here now, and I heard what you guys were talking about, and yeah, I actually saw Revenge of the Sith last night, and man, this could lead to some hot takes, but yeah, definitely Revenge of the Sith for me would be my answer.
Yeah, no, dude, that is totally fair. Thanks for coming on the show, man, and squeezing us in. We know you have a busy schedule, so we're just thankful you could be here tonight with us. Always glad to have Bismo back. And great hot take. He's already starting off the gate hot. So
Yeah, I this is like one of the streams where I actually have no idea what you guys like thought, and I wasn't able to make it to the watch along, so I guess you guys won't know. I did do ratings for each episode, so I'm kind of interesting to. Oh my gosh, yeah. So we're in the non-spoiler section just to make sure, right? Obviously.
yeah, we're non-spoiler right now. We're still in question of the week at the moment, but it kind of ties into the non-spoiler segment of the show for Andor.
Am I sounding all right for viewers at home?
You're sounding good to us here, Dan. Do you need any more from him?
Nope. From a technical perspective, it sounds fantastic.
Phantasmagorical, as Mary Poppins people say.
Biztastic.
Biztastic, baby.
Yeah.
Love it.
KG says we need
Let's
a
gore.
Bismo emoji.
Yeah,
we
we
need
do.
the Bismo emoji.
We do need a Bismo emoji.
It's just
Is that copyrighted though? I don't know about
Yeah.
that.
Bizmoji.
Ooh, yeah. That's a new one. Yeah, make a Bismoji perhaps. No,
We'll
I-
have
We'll have to work it out.
Yeah, we'll have to work it out. We'll have to get the documents and have you sign it.
More
and do all the-
negotiations.
More
right?
negotiations.
negotiations,
Yeah.
yes.
The aggressive negotiations. Oh man, cool, dude. Well, that was a great answer, and I agree with you. I think, yeah, if I had to pick out of all of them, it's gonna be Revenge of the Sith, man. Revenge of the
It's
Sith.
kind of it's an unfair question because Revenge of the Sith is not only my favorite Star Wars movie, but it's my favorite movie. So it's
Yeah.
always going to be the answer. And after seeing it on the big screen for the first time ever yesterday, it just got that much better for me. So it was really was a treat to be able. And I bought the tickets 2 weeks in advance, so I had center perfect seats, right like in the middle back, so I had the perfect surround sound. The scores were hitting. Oh my gosh.
You were like
It was-
using the tuning fork or whatever to figure out the perfect audio
Yes.
spot in the room.
He engineered.
Well,
He
I
engineered.
did some research. Apparently, it's like not quite the middle, but like the seat, like back middle is
Back
like
middle,
the best
yeah.
for sound.
That
'Cause, I mean,
makes
the
sense.
music is. I mean, you got the John Williams scores. I mean, there's just so much good there. But I could talk Revenge of the Sith forever.
And we will. We have a segment. We're gonna go into that. Don't you worry.
Okay, then, yeah, we'll save it for that. Then.
No, but I'm excited that you're excited for it because I had a blast with that too. But we will keep discussing. What's the chat saying, fact checker, in regards to what's their favorite from this past week here for the episodes or Revenge of the Sith?
Okay, yeah. So Tamerkin said she liked episode 5 best out of those 3. And she already rewatched them and said that she found last night's episodes better than the first watch.
Okay.
And so she thinks parts of the last episode kind of soured it for her, but as a whole, pretty solid actually. So,
Gotcha.
So yeah, she
Nice.
picked episode 5, and I think she said she was jealous that about Bismo seeing the movie in theater. So
Okay.
maybe
Sure
that
was, yeah.
That's
would
fair.
have changed it a bit.
Might have.
Well, yeah, I mean, I planned it in advance. I kind of, 2 weeks ago, I wasn't looking at my schedule like, oh, Andor's coming out at this time. I got plans,
Yeah, right.
After last week, I was a little like, oh no, I'm gonna have to watch it late. But yeah, I got back from the movie at 10 p.m. and started watching it. I opened it Disney Plus to see 3-hour long episodes. I'm like, I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm gonna be able to do this, but if this is any hint, I
You
fell
fell
asleep
asleep.
during the second
I
episode.
I knew you were gonna say that. I was like,
Uh-oh.
he fell asleep, and I can't blame him for it. I was like, he's definitely fallen asleep. Dude, that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
That's
No,
kind of
I'm
funny.
very curious to discuss this though, and it's just so much content though. So I will
Yeah.
say, regardless, very happy that they've been dropping them in 3-episode arcs because a lot of these episodes just don't work on their own if you have that just for a week, at least in my opinion. But anyhow, I prefer it compared to the first season. Like
Yeah.
arc by arc is the play.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it kind of puts it into like mini movie territory. As long as it's done right. Which, oh man, we got opinions on if it was done right or not coming up here soon. Anybody else fact checker that we may have missed in the comment section of the chat?
Well,
The
KG,
Gonkers.
yeah, KG said she's not sure which episode to pick. So, but she, I think, where to go? The episodes grow on her as well the more she rewatches them. So it was hard to pick one. She said, basically.
Oh, that's totally fair. That's totally fair.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, if I had to pick out of the actual 3, it is hard to say. But if I could just pick, I'd probably pick like the last 5 minutes of the last episode.
Wow, really honing it in.
That's probably about it.
Cheating answer.
I'm cheating a little bit. And there was moments without, and we'll get to it more in the non-spoilers and spoilers review. But we got to keep moving here. We got so much covered tonight. So I'm going to be rapid firing through something. If you guys, if I'm going too fast, let me know, and I'll slow down and get. I don't want to miss anybody with anything here.
All right, let me end the poll.
Yeah, go right
'Cause
ahead.
it
Fact
looks
checker.
like
Thank you.
we're tied between episode 6 and Revenge of the Sith.
Oh wow, that's
Wow.
surprising.
So anyway,
Cool. Thank you guys for.
Don't lie, guys. Come on. Now.
Biz like you lie. Oh man, well that's fair. Hey, everybody's opinion is valid, and we're glad that you guys are here joining us tonight. And if you're watching back later, don't forget to put in the comments what your answer is. We want to hear from you. All right, cool. Well, we do have a little bit of housekeeping here tonight. We have, if you guys haven't been following the channel very much lately, we have War of the Cosmic Tyrants is our Star Wars D&D that we have been doing here on Stay on Target channel. We've been having a lot of fun. We've gone through 5 episodes now, and episode 6 is coming out this Friday. And you guys can all watch it live with us. It's a great time. It's a lot of fun. You're going to laugh at some point during because it's just pure silliness. So it's back this Friday, May 2nd at 8 p.m. And also, I did want to announce here right now that we do have a special Star Wars D&D one-shot that we're doing this Sunday, May the 4th. Okay, we are celebrating May the 4th here by doing a Star Wars D&D one-shot. If you don't know what a one-shot is, that means an entire story encapsulated into one sit-down event, I guess you could say. That's probably the best way I could put it. So we're doing a Star Wars D&D one-off May the 4th. Time is to be determined. It's gonna be Sunday. Don't you worry about it. It's gonna be a blast, and people are gonna have a lot of fun. So we'd love it if you guys could join us for that in the chat, talking along. It's gonna be a good time. So definitely come back for that. We have more news here, but before we get into anything else, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your frenemies about us, so we can continue to grow this community. Because with all of us together, we can make Star Wars
Butter.
Yes, you do.
You got it.
I always wanted to do that.
Oh man, we need like an actual butter, like a butter container that's like Stay on Target butter.
Yeah.
wow.
And I should make a short or some kind of a stinger of just like butter being
Butter
thrown
dropping,
down.
yeah, on Star Wars or something. Or Stay on Target.
Something.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
We need it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I just
Well,
want to say that's a. Oh, sorry.
you go ahead, Biz.
I was just gonna say that that's a really cool idea. I was wondering. So I've watched. I'll admit I'm a bit behind on the War of the Cosmic Tyrants, but
That's
I'm
totally fair,
excited
man.
to continue watting. The first 2 episodes have been super captivating. Admittedly, it's a long time, but it's a very put that on in the background. I was laughing so much during that second episode, but I was wondering, do you guys have it? Well, like obviously, I kind of understand the rules of somewhat, but do you know about how many episodes in total? Or are you just going until the story is complete?
We so for War of the Cosmic Tyrants, no, we do not have an end date set. We're just going and seeing where the story takes us. Obviously, we do Jared, our GM, he is got a lot more planned out. But it's basically as long as we want to keep going here, and as long as the fans are having a good time with it. So there is not really an end date so far, but that might change if we want to change it up. So. Yeah, I'm glad. Thank you for listening to the first. I know they are very long. That is the tough thing about it.
I'm definitely gonna watch the whole thing. It's just finals.
Oh man,
graduation, crazy times.
You've been rightfully busy biz, haven't you?
Yes, you have.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
nothing else I'd rather be doing though than talking Andor of all things. No.
Right. I know what an arc to bring you into. I mean,
we kind of set ourselves up to get roasted here, didn't we?
But yeah, this week, who knew? Who knew this was gonna happen? Maybe Biz already did.
I haven't said what my thoughts are.
But
I did fall asleep during the second one. But it was late. Think about it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. It's all fair. I see people jumping in the chat. Hey guys, thanks for jumping in. Duke, Christina, Kirsten. It's great having you. Good luck on your finals, Biz, says Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Duke, appreciate that.
Your aggressive negotiations. Don't pull out any lightsabers though. It might be frowned upon.
Oh man.
Or 5 hands.
Or 5 hands.
Yeah.
No, I'll say part of the reason why I was late though is we were actually flight testing a drone.
Imperial probe droid.
Made. Yeah, fully made and 3D printed and everything.
That's cool.
We actually did get it to fly. But yeah, there were some
they fly now?
It flies now. Not anymore though, but there's a little bit of damage.
Oh no.
Oh no.
But it was a success though.
It flew.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it flew.
It flew.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, congrats on that, man. That's fun. Building that stuff. Oh man.
Yeah. That was crazy, but no, yeah, it worked, but you probably need like an Anakin to pilot that successfully though, for it to fly for long periods of times.
Did you try spinning? Was that the neat trick you tried?
Oh well, we didn't. It did spin.
It did spin.
That's when it crashed. Yeah, when it flew up into the air, went up pretty far, and then it did a full spin
and there she goes.
But it did stay intact though, even though it went like probably like 500 feet up into the sky, and
wow,
it somehow survived that. But
dang, that's pretty high up there, man. That's crazy. Wow, so it was listening to Anakin too much. Try spinning. That's a neat trick. No, don't try spinning.
Yeah, bad time to spin there.
Too much high ground even, maybe, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes.
He ran out of ground. It was just air.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Or wait.
Speaking of high ground, that's a great segue, Dan. This past week was the 1-year anniversary of the High Ground collaboration we had with Bismo. And if you haven't listened to it yet, it's a song that we put out with Bismo. We had a lot of fun making it together. It's a great song. It's uplifting, and it's got some catchy lyrics in there, some awesome rhymes. It's a good time. So if you haven't heard it,
here's the stinger.
Check it out. Dan's got a stinger for us. Listen to it now.
Keep fighting, can't let it keep you down. The dark side's always working, but the light side has the high ground. The light side has the high ground.
I have the high ground.
Full release was on 4/24. Yeah.
It was a year ago.
Yep. A year ago.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. I can't believe we did that. Well, I say we. It was a group effort, but like the guy to the left here put a lot of hours in. So,
everybody put a lot of hours.
Sound like an angel.
Dude, yeah, but it wouldn't have existed had you not had the idea and prompted all of it.
And the lyrics.
So and the lyrics and everybody in this room sang something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
everybody.
It was truly a team effort, but yeah, that was such a fun time, and it came out so good. Like I mean, it's
a good song.
I listened to it. Yeah, I listened to it. I've been listening to it the past year. Every probably at least once a week. I mean, it works in a variety of settings. Like it's a good workout song. You got you gotta fight the fight, keep fighting. Like you just want to get into it,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I mean it works in a variety of settings, but yeah,
It's
no,
definitely a
thanks
feel
though
good.
for the yeah, for sure.
It is. My kids still ask to play it all the time. They're
Yeah.
like, Dad, can we listen to High Ground?
Oh,
I'm like,
that's
sure, man,
Yeah.
let's do it. And we rock out to it. Yeah. So it's definitely it's on our regular playlist basically every day.
I wonder though. I've never heard it in a candlelight version. Maybe it should be.
Oh, wow.
Dan's loving the candlelight version. Wait, no, now you should do techno remix for the
That's it. I'll
techno
do
remix
the.
and a candlelight version for High Ground.
I wonder how fast we could make it Bismo without it before it just fell apart. Like, man, Bismo's
Yeah.
going like 180 BPMs on those rhymes.
That would be crazy. Oh my goodness.
I mean, maybe we'll have to try something at some point, huh?
That would be
Anything's
awesome.
possible here.
Anything's possible. So if you guys haven't checked it out yet, it is sold everywhere music can be found or bought in. It's also on YouTube here if you want to.
Did you just say the
I said
Boffins were going to
the
buy it?
Boffins will buy this. It's also on YouTube here on both of our channels, so definitely check it out both places and listen to it. It's a great time. All right, cool. Well, we got more to get into. We got to rapid fire through some of this stuff because we got some HoloNet news.
Everything's under control. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
All right, kicking off the HoloNet news, we have Ahsoka Season 2 has started filming. I know Biz is excited for this one, so I'm glad we get to talk about it with Biz on the
Yeah.
show. What are your thoughts, Biz? What are you thinking, man? You excited?
Oh, I'm so pumped, man. I'm so pumped. That's like for me, and I've kind of like I had a group of 11 people that went to this Revenge of the Sith, by the way. It was a huge group. But anyhow,
Wow.
some of those
Dude.
friends of mine are a little bit more casual with Star Wars, but I was trying to give them, my takes on a bunch of different things, to my, honest takes and whatnot. I still believe that where we're at with Star Wars is like the main story. Like, yeah, Andor, it's it's a cool. It exists, in between a couple of things. But like for me, like the current story though, that's like being told. It's the Mandoverse. Like I feel like they had a lot of shows with the Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, so many going on in this time. Like they did the Acolyte, right? And it's 100 years or whatever before. I mean, it wasn't very good. Besides the point, what I'm getting at though is like to try to bring people together, you need a story that is at least somewhat consistent, and we're not jumping all over the place. So pretty long-winded. But yes, I'm excited for Ahsoka Season 2 because I think they're going to step up their game. I think they heard the feedback with some of the dialogue things. I think it was a good learning experience for Dave. Now, I'm still a huge fan of Season 1, but it has its flaws. And they're teasing this war. Like, we're getting Star Wars. Like, that's what I'm hearing about Ahsoka Season 2. Like, an actual multi-scale war. I would say my biggest concern, though, if any, is Thrawn, though. Like, there was a quote from Filoni that was a little bit like gave me the heebie-jeebies a little bit, where he was talking about how Thrawn wants to make chaos, and like that was just maybe a quote out of context. I'm sure Dave knows much more about Thrawn since he's worked with Timothy Zahn. He's made Rebels. Thrawn's depiction in Star Wars Rebels is good.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming he means more than that. But I think this can't just be a season where Thrawn just gets killed off at the end of it. This can't be another Moff Gideon situation where, all right, typical, like, fight it out. Like, it's got to be more than that. But I want epic, large-scale Star Wars. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair, man. I agree with you. I am trying to give, if you guys know, I didn't absolutely love Ahsoka Season 1. I did enjoy parts of it for sure. But it was a little lackluster in my opinion. But I have to even temper that a little bit myself and be like, well, that was Dave's first outing when it came to live action. So I'm trying to give him a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt. And listening to him during Celebration, I agree with you. I think he's really trying to course correct and listen to what the fans talked about. And I hope, and it sounded like he's trying to course correct with a lot of things. Because the fandom definitely spoke loud on it. They always do, and we always do, which, we got to call it when it's good, call it when it's bad. And I think people really loved certain elements, and it sounded like they're leaning into that. With Season 2, it sounds like they're going to be doing some more live-action Clone Wars for all the people that they've got. Abeloth might be showing up. I did see the image of what's his name's who's going to be filling in for Balin Skull. I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah,
Not
the
absolutely.
actor that plays the Hound in
Yes.
Game of Thrones. Yeah,
Who's his
I mean, he's a great
real
actor.
life friend too, right? I think I forget his name.
Yeah, I mean, I forget his name. If anyone can help
Yeah,
us out
got
in the
it.
chat.
Rory McCann.
What was that?
Oh,
Rory McCann.
Rory McCann. Thank you, fact
okay,
checker.
yeah.
Destroying
Thank you.
it. So
Yeah,
no, go ahead.
Well, I already said so much.
Oh.
What Dan and the fact
Yeah,
checker
no,
have
for
to
sure. Yeah, no. So I'm still looking forward to it. I'm tentatively optimistic. That's kind of what I'll leave it off at. I'm not I'm trying not to get my hopes up and going into it with an open mind. That's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. But Dan, what about you? Are you excited for Ahsoka season 2?
I am excited for Ahsoka season 2. I'm not like incredibly, massively hyped for Ahsoka season 2, but
yeah,
I am looking forward to it. Yeah, I liked seeing the things at Star Wars Celebration. That was kind of exciting to see them there, and some of the announcements that they've made with Natalie Portman. They definitely have me curious. Seeing Hayden Christensen, I'm not gonna lie, like it made me really happy seeing him at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah,
and if we can get more of him in Ahsoka. If there's any way, is there a way, guys?
Oh yeah,
definitely.
That's what they're working on.
I mean, we've got more flashbacks, and
Right.
also I feel like he can come. I mean, at this point, bring him back as a Force ghost. Keep doing that.
I
that's
loved
fine by
the
me.
stuff that he did in it. It was just awesome to me. That like you said, that arc in the middle, 4, 5, 6 was spot on. And if they can hit that peak and then deliver with Balin and Shin. Because those two characters outside of the, were pretty exciting for me. And I liked Ahsoka at when she kind of turned Ahsoka the white after the thing. That was kind of cool. I didn't particularly love Ezra or Sabine as much as I wanted to, because those are two of my favorite characters from Rebels. But I think they're gonna learn and step up. I honestly do. So I am hesitantly, what's the word? Excited. I am excited,
tentatively optimistic.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, put me in that camp, whatever that camp is.
Right. What were you gonna say, Biz?
Well, I was just gonna say, I wasn't like Sabine threw me off a bit. I actually was a bigger fan of Ezra than I think most for it. He didn't really get many episodes. I mean, though he got like 2 episodes, so it's kind of a small sample size.
Yeah, I think it was the way he was treated. Actually,
no,
it wasn't himself. Honestly, I think it was just
Amanis Fond.
I like Amanis Fondi. I thought he did a great job with what they gave him.
Actor did a great job.
I just didn't feel like they gave him what he deserved.
No, that's
considering he gave his whole life to take him and Thrawn away.
Yes,
and I'm proud of Sabine for saving him. If you look at the story on paper, I was thinking about this the other day. Story on paper is pretty good.
Yeah, it's a set. This has been my points like the whole time. Like on paper, the story is good. It sets up, like if we look at Ahsoka season 1, it lays the foundation for what hopefully is going to be a lot more. There were some iffy things, some rough dialogue, admittedly at times, and borderline filler, especially in the beginning. But if we can just hold on to hope that this is mostly set up, that's where my optimism comes from. But like, without a doubt, it fell off towards the end, which is tricky. But we'll see though. Like, I feel like there still could be a world where Ahsoka season 2 is really good and builds off of a lot of things that Ahsoka season 1 did, where we might be able to, like, at least, I don't know, Dustin, for example, you might be able to look at Ahsoka season 1 more in a more positive light if they build off of it, though. Now, if they don't, if they don't build off of it, then I could see where it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, and also with TV shows, and a lot of times, sometimes it takes a season or 2. Like that's the other thing we're not thinking about. But I think it's because they're such high budget TV shows that it's hard for us to look at it in the same light as we would as like normal TV. Normal TV, it's not costing so much. And sometimes with normal TV shows, it takes like a season or 2 before it really starts to get great. And then that's when they really get into their stride. So to be fair, in a lot of ways, I can understand like he's still trying to figure it out as he goes. And there's stuff there. There's definitely still hope. I've not given up hope on it for sure. We can all see the flaws in it, and I think, like you said, I think he's course correcting. And what I really want What I really want, I think, is best of both worlds here is what they need to do is have Tony Gilroy look at Ahsoka season 2 and tighten up the dialogue and tighten up and hone in on building the world. Because those are two of the things that I feel like Tony Gilroy really like excels at. Now, the parts that I feel like he misses on a lot of the time is the bigger spectacle or the bigger galaxy or like the bigger moments where that's where I feel like a Dave Filoni steps in and kind of can deliver on some of those bigger moments along with John Favreau. I think the three of them, if you got all three of them working together or at least like proofreading to kind of help their stories, just tighten everything up. And then I think with the three of them together, you have basically a George Lucas that is like a New Hope in some ways. So, and that's why I really think it would be really great. So that's what I really want them to do. Now, will they do it? Probably not. But that's where you just look at each show and you're like, man, they're close. They're all close, but they're missing certain elements that if you combine those elements together, you probably would have some peak Star Wars. So that's kind of my point. Fact checker, we didn't get to you yet, but what were you thinking about this Ahsoka season 2, fact checker?
Oh, well, I followed some of it during Star Wars Celebration, different interviews and news that was coming out, and they dropped a lot, I felt like. So what you guys were saying about they are really listening to the fans this time, I appreciate hearing that, and it does give me hope. While I'm maybe not super excited about it, I still will watch it and hopefully enjoy it more than season 1. Especially, I mean, we're going to see, you already mentioned quite a few, but Admiral Akbar will be there.
Right.
And so that is really intriguing.
Yes.
And then, I mean, it sounds really cute, but they're giving us Loth kittens.
Oh, yeah.
Can't go wrong there, right?
Oh, my goodness.
Loth kittens.
You got to have something cute in Star Wars, you know?
Yeah. So it'll be interesting.
That's kind of a staple.
I'm glad they're filming it. So what, we'll get it next year? 2 years?
Was it 2020?
We'll get it. We'll get it at the end of 2020.
Oh, it's at the end?
I don't want to. It's going to come after the Mando and Grogu movie for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it might.
Bismail, we need your release date right here, right now. Set it in stone. I'm kidding.
Well, I could talk on this forever, and I do want to mention a couple things.
Yeah,
though,
go ahead.
Dustin. I agree. I think there should be somebody to help rein in like Dave Filoni's dialogue. I mean, George Lucas, for example, like that this is how basically what Dave Filoni's operating right now is if George Lucas just had all the reins and nobody telling him, hey, maybe you went a little far with this dialogue. Right. Now, with that being said, I still do like the aspect in that Star Wars is a space opera more so, and that some of these lines that are more a bit iffy or don't make it much sense, sometimes it fits the vibe. Like there's a line that I do like, and also just the lack of seriousness when Ezra's like, the Force is the only ally I need, and then he immediately gets like
destroyed.
Destroyed. Yeah, he gets like.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we're doing our character wrong, maybe, but like that. Those are the type of lines that George Lucas would make, though. Like those are the type. Like if you look at the prequels, or even in Revenge of the Sith, when I'm watching, like on the rewatch, there's definitely more rhythmic lines than like really strict and like serious good dialogue, which Andor has really good dialogue. And I think there's, if you find like a middle ground, and where Ahsoka season 2 needs to be serious most of the time, but I do appreciate the Star Wars feel where sometimes we don't take it as serious as it needs to be with some of the dialogue, though, I guess.
Yeah, you need levity in there, which I can understand for sure. Yeah. So no, that's a great point. We'll leave it there. Did you want to say anything else with Ahsoka season 2 before we move on? Biz, I know there's one of you.
In that we got to discuss 3-hour-long episodes of Andor and Revenge of the Sith.
You should talk. You should filibuster as long as possible right now. This is your chance. Go for like the next hour. Let's start from episode 1 of Ahsoka season 1.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just redo that.
I'm excited though. I'm very excited to cap it off. I'm very, just to say it, put out there, a voice out there. I'm very excited for Ahsoka season 2 and its production though.
Nice. No,
let's go.
That's totally fair, man. We're glad you are, and we're glad if you guys are excited out there too. Let us know for Ahsoka season 2. we're tentatively optimistic. Bismo is over the moon excited, and we're happy about that. Honestly, it's good to feel excited about Star Wars. Anytime you're excited about Star Wars, it's a good time because that's what we want.
With it being said, though, since it's this mainline project where I'm saying this is the current Star Wars story, if Ahsoka season 2 doesn't fit for me, that would be a crushing blow, and I will be the first to say that, and it will be a sad day because then I don't know. Just from what was announced, I'll be honest, I'm not super excited about the what is it, the Ryan Gosling movie?
The Star Wars Starfighter.
Yeah, like I mean, you'll get some casual viewership with that. Like that movie will probably profit, but it doesn't make sense for where Star Wars is currently at. I don't think we want to see a movie that's 6 years after the sequels. I could be speaking for a lot of people, but the only other thing that really got me excited was the animated stuff with Maul and Visions.
Right.
I mean, I'm excited for Mando and Grogu. I think that movie just needs to be a fun experience. And but yeah, okay.
You're covering everything now. You were basically
sorry.
switched to Celebration. No, that's totally fine. No, you're getting your. I'm right there with you. I still say with this Jedi Starfighter, I won't believe it's here until I have my eyes on it.
What's the point? Didn't we just have at the last Celebration a bunch of movies announced, and then the one before that, and where are those?
Yeah, so
they claim they're all still in development.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't believe it until I see it. That one is probably the most likely to happen, but the fact that it takes place 6 years after the sequel trilogy, I'm already like, oh great.
It's a Star Wars bait and switch. It's actually the Rey movie.
It probably will. Honestly, it probably will be.
That's what I mean. Like
they can't call it that because they know the fans aren't particularly happy, but it's actually the Ryan Gosling Rey movie.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. That's probably what it's gonna be, dude.
It's who else is there 6 years after?
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying like if they can do something really impressive with the story, it wouldn't be a fun time. Like I still like Finn. He was cool. They just did him all dirty in the Rise of Skywalker. I mean, so if they're handled better, anything's possible. But we got to get far away from what happened about somehow somebody returned. It's like, what the heck is this?
Yeah. There's so much there. And we are opening up more cans of worms when we have more to cover. So I'm gonna course correct us right now, and we're gonna jump. We're going to jump right into something I think we would much rather talk about, which is the 20-year anniversary showing of Revenge of the Sith. Just came out this last week, and man, is it burning up the box office. Crazy. I know, Fact Checker, you got the numbers here. What were those numbers on that? Again, Fact Checker, it was number 1 in the world, right? Is that what you said? I'm sorry, I might be getting some of this wrong.
I don't remember that.
It's the number 1 highest box office release ever in the world.
No, not ever in the world. But
I was focusing on the dollar amount that it raked in over 40 million just this last weekend, which is pretty
I heard
huge.
It was in the top 2 this weekend.
It was.
It's already doing more than the Minecraft movie.
Yep. It's just crazy. That's kind of the point I wanted to make, was the fact that it was so it was contending with like major releases that are coming out now. A 20-year-old movie that George Lucas made, George Lucas Star Wars, is contending with upcoming movies being released that have been promoted to the heck. It's crazy. So it's just cool to see that there's still an audience and there's still a fever pitch for George Lucas's Star Wars, and it shows, in my opinion, the sad state of Disney Star Wars. And that's kind of the point I think a lot of people are seeing from this.
The fans are speaking. Like
yes.
I went yesterday, a Tuesday, midweek. There was like 12 showings. My theater was 80% full on a Tuesday night when it was of a re-release. Like fans are speaking. This is like Revenge of the Sith. This is the Star Wars that people want to see.
Yeah.
Like it's really not that difficult. Like make good Star Wars. Like the fans have spoken. Like 100 million on a re-release, like overall, or
yes, dude, it's gonna get there. I mean, it's gonna get there, and that's crazy. That's just all money in the bank, dude. They put out a little bit of advertising and then put it in theaters again. And
how much of that goes to George Lucas's pocket?
I wonder.
Because this is not Disney Star Wars. That was his. It's all owned by Disney now. But does he get separate royalties off of that stuff?
I'm sure he gets a percentage and some sort of royalty. But at the same time, Disney needs a win. Disney Star Wars really needs some any money coming in at this point.
I wonder if like Hayden Christensen even gets like back money, you know?
I think they do.
Yeah, he
They get
like
points
on the
movie.
showing, he walks out, so I'd assume he's somewhat involved. I mean,
Yeah.
that
Right.
made me smile just to hear him talk about the movie
Yep.
for like 30 seconds.
Yeah. And it was cool to see both him and Samuel L. Jackson come out on stage for that special showing of the release. Did you catch that, Bismo?
Well, they weren't at my theater. No,
No, I know, not yours, but I know, right? Were you
Ours
there?
either.
That would have been
No, I saw
awesome,
that.
dude.
Yeah, that would be crazy. But
yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, like I said, it's my favorite movie. I've probably seen that movie 30 times or more.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how many times, but to see it for the first time in theaters, though, I don't know how the prequels were hated on. Like, in my opinion, like, and I'm extremely biased, but the fans have spoken. People went to this. It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. Like, it is what Star Wars should be. And there are shots in it that are. It's not just about the lightsaber duels, which there are many, and they are great. Yes, they're amazing. But like the scene with Anakin and Padme, like right before Anakin needs to go confront Palpatine, while Palpatine and Mace Windu are fighting, you know, just there's no dialogue, just the music in the background and those wide angle shots in the Jedi Council chambers, panning between Anakin and Padme. I mean, that's some very good cinematography. There's moments like that, and wow,
it's like peak Star Wars space opera, I'd say, for Revenge of the Sith. There's so much emotion going on. There's so much that has to occur in this movie. I mean, he covers a lot of stuff. The pacing is quick. You know, it's a longer movie, but at the same time, it goes by quick because there's a lot that is happening. And it is cool to see overall. And it's so cool to see it in the big screen, to your point. I remember watching it the first time in the big screen and being blown away. Just the intro alone, one of the coolest CGI intros of like a huge star battle going on over Coruscant of all places. That epic scope looked just as good as when I watched it the first time. I'm blown away that stuff still holds up to this day.
I mean, he was paving the way back then. Star Wars was paving the way for new content. Now we're just getting the bare minimum of what's acceptable.
Yeah, I know. I think
like we get back to trying to do better, like try to push the boundary.
Yeah, CGI has almost taken a step back in a lot of ways compared to what we got back then, which is crazy to say.
Well, they got as far as George Lucas took it, and then that's where it stopped. They're like, all right, we've landed the plane, except for maybe like James Cameron, who kind of like likes to reinvent certain things.
The mocap.
So it takes people like that. You know, Favreau helped a lot with the volume, and now a lot of people use that. But that's only, you know, our eyes are only going to believe that for so long. You know what I mean? We've already seen, like, we get used to it. Now we're going back, which is why I like Andor, to like real things.
Real
like,
sets.
They really built all of those cups and plates and tables and chairs. And then, but, you know, people like Christopher Nolan, who everything is practical. You know, you don't have to go that crazy, but...
And that's always going to hold up.
But it always holds up because you're like, wow, it looks so real. Because it is real.
Everything is
but we need somebody like a George Lucas to bridge that. And, you know, they're coming along. The technology is getting there, but it's definitely slowed down in the last 20 years.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely moments where you're like, wow, that was rough. But the fun part about watching it again in theaters and just watching it with other people is the memes, man. There's so many memes and gifs that, like, it was hard not to laugh through the movie.
There were certainly some moments. This showing, for how packed it was, I was happy that it was good, because I went to the Phantom Menace re-showing last year and it was unwatchable because the people were just not the best sports with it. Like, there was just too much. Like, they couldn't even watch the movie.
That can be tough.
It was like the perfect amount. And I'd certainly quoted here and there, but like, and somebody. Like, Anakin was having that vision of Padme for the first time and wakes up, and then there's just silence. Somebody like made a noise in the theater and just everyone started laughing.
That theater experience, man, you can't beat it. And that's also why I'm glad that The Mandalorian Grogu is coming back to theaters. I think just even if it's not great, just being back in theaters is still going to be more fun than watching it at home. You know, just that experience is going to up its value to me. So
100%. And honestly, like, I've kind of accepted, like, this doesn't need to be the best story. It's probably not going to be the best story, but it just needs to be a fun experience. Like, they pretty much already said, Dave Filoni said, like, there'll be Easter eggs for us hardcore fans, but it's going to be a movie that is trying to get everybody that first watched Mando and season 1 back when there's like a trillion viewers, and try to get as many of those casuals as possible. But if it's a fun experience and, you know, Mando and Grogu are kicking butt and it makes sense, we don't break canon,
right,
it's all good to me.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. I know. I feel like sometimes Disney Star Wars canon is a little looser now than it ever was before. But yeah, no, for sure. I'm looking forward to it. So that was fun. It was awesome. What do you guys, did you guys go and see Revenge of the Sith out there? Let us know in the chat and the comments below. We want to hear from you. What was your experience in theaters? Was it just as good as you saw before? Or was it your first time watching it like Biz? And did you enjoy it thoroughly in the theater? It is such a good experience. And to your point again there, Biz, there was definitely a lot of quoting going on during the movie, but there were still moments where the story just captures you and there's like nothing to be said because you're just enwrapped in the film and the filmmaking and the story. And you're just like, this is a serious part. This is heavy. This is weighty. There's so many good moments.
Honestly, like, it's a sad film, and like the more you watch it, the more you appreciate Hayden Christensen's acting. Like, he really sells that this is the story of the tragedy of Anakin Skywalker, and you know, he ultimately basically sells his soul to the devil.
Yeah,
but
to save his wife.
It's sad. Yeah, it's sad. You know, it's sad to watch. It's like, and I made like a short or whatever, just basically like, still turns. I mean, every time I watch, there's like oh, what if, you know, maybe
yeah,
it doesn't turn. And that's why, like, Star Wars What If channels and whatnot, the most popular videos are relating to the prequels, and specifically Anakin. Like, you know, what if he didn't turn? What if he survived all this? Because it's one of the most interesting stories like that there are. So yes, props to George Lucas.
Right. How crazy would it have been, and I know it would never happen, but how crazy and bold it would have been if they actually filmed an alternate ending to it to kick off a new What If series, live action series for Disney Star Wars. That would have been crazy. So like, you go in expecting the tragedy and you get a totally different ending, and and then it just leads off into a totally new galaxy with a totally different plot. You're like, what? That would actually be a pretty good way to get away from the sequel trilogy. So
could that be how Mace comes back?
That could be how Mace comes back. I know you want to see Mace purple. I do too.
Yeah.
You purple Mace. You
purple Mace. You.
Yeah.
Mace is awesome, especially in that one. It's cool to see him. Although it is funny though, like listening to all the what ifs, like you were saying, Biz. It's like all of those what ifs are running through my head as I was watching the movie. I was like, what if he didn't do that?
Yeah, dude.
What if he didn't do that?
No,
and you're like,
no. During another rewatch, I probably wrote down 3 video titles. Like,
nice.
Of like, all right, I'm doing this, this, and this.
Yeah.
There's just so many. There's so many different moments. Like. And also, the more I watch it too, the more I'm upset with the Jedi. Though, like, the more I'm like, man, like, you know, Anakin's showing all these red flags, and the Jedi Council is kind of just screwing him over.
Yeah, who was it? Someone said it too. I can't remember if it was Michaela or fact checker or somebody was like, you know, the enemy of the Sith is counseling.
Nice, Michaela.
Was that Michaela?
Yeah, must have been.
She was saying so. It was like the enemy of the Sith is just counseling, because if they all just got counseling, they wouldn't be in this situation. Like, they just were able to talk about their feelings, figure things out, in an emotionally responsible way, that we could have avoided all this. So that was hilarious from her. I thought that was pretty funny. All right, cool. Well, it was a great time. It was great to see it in theaters, and I'm excited for any Star Wars that comes out in theaters. Honestly, I'm gonna go watch it. They have my money at that point. But it was a good time, and we got more to talk about though. So let's jump into next little bit of HoloNet news. We're going to rapid fire through these last 2. We got Tales of the Underworld coming out May the 4th. Are you guys looking forward to it? Give me your quick thoughts on it, guys. Bismo, what about you? You looking forward to it?
Kind of. Dude, this is such a busy time for me, and I've already got to watch 3 episodes of Andor. It's just not ideal timing for me personally. Like, yes, I'm gonna watch it, and admittedly, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm a little more excited for those episodes than the other episodes that are dropping. But
hey, you know,
at least they dropped the whole thing at once, though.
That's true.
Right.
But I heard that Fortnite, the game, they're having like the 2-episode premiere 2 days early. I think that's kind of bogus because like I even have the game, but every time it updates, it's like a 50 gigabyte update like every day. Like,
oh man.
So you could watch but there's gonna be spoilers to have to deal with for like 2 days. So just a heads up, guys.
So Fortnite, you can log into Fortnite and watch the episodes in the game.
On May
Friday.
May 2nd, which I'm going to be too busy. I will not be doing that.
Interesting.
That's bogus.
Or you can wait and Disney Plus gets it after Fortnite.
They'll release it on.
They'll release on Disney Plus on Sunday.
May the 4th. Yeah.
That's crazy. So
2 days later though. So
but they're doing all this like Star Wars skins and stuff in that game, right? There's all kinds of playables.
There's money. They need money. They go to Fortnite.
That's what they're going.
Right.
Yeah, that's
why they're like, all right, hey, Fortnite was like, well, we don't really want to do the collab anymore, but if you give us a little, something, give us. So they're like, all right, well, we'll give you 2 episodes of our show, and it will release before we even release it.
Just that alone, we'll get a lot of people going to that game just to watch the episodes. I mean, realistically.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that's as much of a pull as say some other shows, but yeah.
I mean that will make the money. Like it certainly will make them some money.
Definitely. And you.
But what you're saying, Bismo, is that if you had nothing going on right now, your excitement level would be higher.
Yes, it would be. It's a little bit daunting to know that I need to watch that and Andor in the span of like 2 days.
I know.
Yeah. And if it wasn't during Andor, I mean, that's true because Andor's a lot to digest for every human.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, I think one arc is probably realistically one arc is probably more content than Tales though. Like it'll probably be 2 hours, like maybe 2 hours.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because usually their episodes are only about 15 to 20 minutes long, and there's usually 6 of them.
Yeah,
so.
I'm pretty excited about it though.
Yeah, I'm excited for Cad Bane.
Yeah, I watch it with my son, and we love the animated stuff, so we're pumped to watch it, and I think it's going to be good. We liked the one from last year, but it didn't hit the same as Tales of the Jedi. Was it Tales of the Empire last year?
Yeah.
Tales of the Jedi was the first one, and Tales of the Empire was the second one.
So this is our third one. So I'm expecting good things because I like Cad Bane. Yeah, I like Ventress is cool.
Yeah.
So and whatever else they got
step up from the other one, which I think it will. I think Tales of the Empire was just a little bit clickbait, honestly.
Yeah. I agree there.
And they were kind of in the dark times. There wasn't a lot happening that was super, super good. It was kind of you could tell it came out.
Naming convention is questionable, but like
the way they name it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tales of the. What was this one?
Tales of the Underworld is the name of this one.
Yeah, it's just I mean, it makes sense, but still, this one makes more sense. But the Tales of the Empire,
that was very loose.
It was very loose.
It was kind of about the Empire. But.
Yeah, it was more like Tales of the Evil Chicks in some ways. I don't know. It wasn't very good either way. But fact checker, what about you? Are you looking forward to Tales of the Underworld?
I keep forgetting that it's coming out, so I feel bad. But I didn't enjoy last year, like you said, and I don't know. Again, like Bismo was saying, there's so much content. I'm kind of tired. Maybe I'm just feeling that today. We'll see how I feel over the weekend. But yeah.
Well, I had like a no content span for like 3 months, and now you got. I get it May the 4th, but like.
Feast your famine.
There's a time to not do that.
Everything at once. Star Wars Celebration. Andor season 2. I mean, it's been
Revenge of the Sith coming out.
Like, what do we have to look forward to after Andor is done? Like, honestly, when's the next piece of content? And
I think we have the Visions after that, but I don't even know when that's dropping, to be honest.
Nobody knows.
So, what about like a live action show? Like, they probably don't have anything.
No. Other than Mando and Grogu. That's I think the next thing on the docket, and then Ahsoka.
And you think Skeleton Crew, but they didn't talk about it.
What are we supposed to do after Andor for like the next 6 months?
That's the question, man. We're gonna have to create our own content. That's why you tune in for War of the Cosmic Tyrants.
Yes.
Oh man, yeah. But no, great takes on that. Tales of the Underworld. I am looking forward to it. I think the problem, again, like we all talked about, was the first one, Tales of the Jedi, was so good. And they introduced so many interesting things and showed us things that we didn't know we wanted to see. And that's what I loved about Tales of the Jedi. And then they came out with Tales of the Empire, and we were looking forward to that. And I think it would be a staple if that one went off without a hitch. But unfortunately, that one was Bantha Poodoo, in my opinion. didn't need to see any of that. Didn't care to see any of that for the most part. I didn't really love the arcs of any of the characters. A little bit of controversy thrown in there as well. It has diminished my opinion of the Tales series, and now we're going into Tales in the Underworlds. I'm mid about it, just for the fact that I do really like Asajj Ventress. I like that character, and I do think she has a lot more to offer. And I am curious to see how they show her basic resurrection from the book that she was in. And I do like Cad Bane a lot, although I'm nervous with Cad Bane for the fact that sometimes showing too much of a cool character's backstory can really take away from the cool factor of that character.
The aura goes down.
Yeah,
Boba
it
Fett.
Yeah, Boba Fett's a prime example of that. So that's what I'm nervous about there. So anyway, tentatively optimistic, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, we've got dumped on in Star Wars recently. It's like we were in like a desert, a drought, and then they're like, oh, just take all of it all at once. It was a celebration. Like a million things happen. Andor season 2, or yeah, it's just craziness right now in the world of Star Wars. It's hard to cover it all. It's the truth, and do your own thing at the same time. But we're doing the best we can, and we're glad you guys are here with us. And if we miss anything, let us know in the chat or in the comments.
Well, a bunch of people said some stuff.
Everything.
They released Tales of the Jedi, KG said, during first season of Andor as well. Like, they're afraid kids will get jealous that the adults are getting Star Wars and the kids aren't.
That's a good point.
I mean, maybe.
Although there's some adult themes in those too.
Yeah, they're a little heavy too, but
yeah, at least I got one piece of content I enjoyed during that time.
Oh no. Nothing till Ahsoka on Disney Plus she follows up with.
Hey, I let Ahsoka go a little bit because we had to move on, but I got thoughts about that.
Tamerkin said, I'm excited to see Ventress again.
It's Andor season, man.
It's Andor season. I know.
Boy.
We got to call it like we see it, though, so that's fair opinion, dude.
Yeah. Are you guys just excited about the next topic? Is that what you're saying about?
Well, the next one, though, I did want to cover this real fast.
Oh, okay.
Being May the 4th and Tales of the Underworld coming out May the 4th, I want to know, how is everybody out there? How are you guys going to be celebrating May the 4th? Here, we will be doing a Star Wars D&D one-off that day, and we can't wait to have you guys there with us, having fun, going through a single story in a few hours. It's going to be a blast. We can't wait to see you guys there. That's how we are celebrating. We will be covering Tales of the Underworld as well, but probably either that following Wednesday, typically, probably, maybe, if it's good. And I mean, we're going to cover it. But what about you, Dan? How are you celebrating May the 4th? Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
Nope, that's pretty much it. Yeah, usually just find some Star Wars. Is there any cereal in the store I can go eat for breakfast?
Yeah, that was something that was fun. The blue milk last year was fun.
That was fun.
The blue milk, yeah, it's always fun. We did that last year with blue milk and the different Star Wars foods.
Yeah,
or at least we did the blue milk. We did the blue milk and the green milk. I remember that.
Yep,
you made blue and green milk, and we tried it. It was pretty epic.
Okay.
I think we were all went back and forth on which one
they
we liked
sold
more.
it in the store too.
Oh, that's right, and they sold it in the
I
store.
bought multiple. Like I would buy it again, to be honest.
Right?
Like, that was good.
Yeah, it was. So I don't know if I haven't seen anything specifically recently. You know, there's no cereal because the kids are like, "Who's this?" You know, you can't watch that, Billy.
Right. What about you, fact checker? What are you doing May the 4th?
Well, I'll be at the D&D one shot.
Heck yeah, you will.
So that'll be
You'll be
super
shooting
fun.
all of us with cameras.
I hope. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Wow.
That sounds bad.
Shots fired.
I did ask in the chat pre-stream just if everyone is ready for May the 4th, and we've got 50% saying, "Oh yeah, I have huge plans." So,
oh wow!
No one said forgot about it.
Wow.
Obviously, we're in a Star Wars community, so kudos.
Right. I know it would be yeah. I know there's always fun things. You know, if we weren't doing the one shot and Tales of the Underworld wasn't coming out, I'd probably go back and watch maybe the first. Maybe episode 4, or watch one of the episodes with my kids. I might still do that anyway. Mm-hmm. But this is a fun way to celebrate Star Wars.
But yeah, you can always pull out the Star Wars merch, Stay on Target merch, and I've got some different pieces that I'll probably wear on Sunday. So,
some Bismo merch.
Represent.
Wear your Star Wars clothies.
Some
clothies.
Bismo merch as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've got my...
Wow. The dark side.
Ooh.
The dark side. Yes.
Nice flip.
We
That was
flipped
a
that.
good
You like
flip.
that? That
Wow.
was clean,
That was
but
That was pretty clean.
it fits so good. Everybody in the chat, I love it. Coruscant cake, says Christina B.
Ooh, yeah.
Get some Coruscant cakes.
Yeah, we need some food. Speaking of let them cook, are you going to be cooking anything special
Croissants.
on May the 4th?
Well, I think I have this. It might be expired. We'll see. But it's the blue milk and green milk like kit. So I think I'm gonna attempt to
right.
make that, and I'll binge watch the Tales. That's the most I think I can do.
Right. No, because you are a busy man.
Do you have any? Yeah. Do you have any time to breathe this weekend, Bismo? Or no? Or can you breathe
Yeah,
yet?
I'm gonna. I make time regardless.
Right.
I feel I can't just do work, but no.
Right. No, you gotta have downtime. If you don't have downtime, you will go crazy. At least I
you
will,
need to
so.
recharge the batteries at some
Yes.
point.
Yeah,
if you can.
well, yeah. There's no point. There's no point of working think of it. No point of working 100% or no point of working at 50% capacity for 12 hours when I can work at 100% capacity for 6 hours, right?
Right. I try to tell my boss that all the time. Doesn't seem to work though.
I try to
Dang
do.
Right.
I do like 200% for like 7 seconds.
You're only 7 second
I'm like-
sprints. You gotta
I'm
rest.
like, I'm done.
Oh, that was a lot.
7 seconds, you take like 30 minutes off, and then like 7 seconds, like 30 minutes. Takes you 6 years. It's not a good idea.
Yeah, you got to do some hit workouts or something to
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
improve that.
Yeah, right.
That's right. 2010.
There you go.
Oh man. All right. Well, we got to move on here. We got to cover. We do have to. I'm sorry, Biz, but we do have to cover Andor season 2,
Well-
episode 4-6. I know. I'll let you go here in a sec, Biz. We'll just jump into the Andor season 2, episode 4-6. We're gonna go into the non-spoiler review right meow. So don't you worry if you haven't seen it. We will not spoil it, but we will give you our thoughts on it as well. So sorry, Biz, I threw you right under the bus there. Do you want to combat that?
Well,
I mean, it's fair.
I'll say if you guys caught me after last week's episodes, this this stream might be a little bit. It could have been a little bit different because my ratings were actually pretty good for the first 3 episodes. It looked like they had listened to fans. It felt like I was watching Star Wars. I mean, I gave a 9.5 to that first episode. That's a pretty good rating.
Yeah, you gave it higher than me, which was surprising.
Yeah, well, I didn't give the overall arc wasn't quite that high.
Right.
Definitely not.
The
But
first
it was
episode, that's what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, that was a really good episode.
It was.
A really fun time, and felt like Star Wars. However,
Yes.
with that being said,
Are we sitting down?
He just got
Oh, no.
Oh, that was a dirty
Now-
move.
I'm just saying.
That's dark side Dan. For
Accidents happen.
Now, I will say, perhaps this arc had the ill fortune of me watching Revenge of the Sith and then immediately then watching Andor. I was in a good mood, like, I just watched the best of the best, and yeah, we're not giving ratings yet, are we? But
We will at the end of the
okay,
non-spoilers.
sounds good. But just my first thoughts though, the first couple episodes for me were a little bit of a step back compared to this first arc, and there was a few scenes that, quite frankly, took me out of the episode a couple times. But the third episode for me worked all right. So it wasn't all unsalvageable, but there was some tough moments in there. I'm gonna be honest, guys.
Yeah. No, dude. That is.
We might agree more than you think today.
Yeah, I really think we.
Because I didn't get a chance to check out what you guys. So
Okay,
no
good.
idea what you
That's
guys-
why we want to hear your
Yeah.
unfiltered thoughts so we can compare them and contrast them, right, Dustin?
Oh yeah, 100%. I know we talked about it a little bit more, and we've been simmering on it since last night, and yeah, it's that's why we were trying to give it a bit more of a positive spin in some ways, saying it's a slow burn, but I'm going to emphasize slow, and definitely a lot of scenes that took us out as well. Pacing, I think, was off in a lot of ways. And if you're going to drop the 3 episode arcs, like that was kind of one of the biggest disappointments for me was, all right, I was kind of waiting I was reserving judgment for that last episode. And I was like, all right, they're going to kick it up a notch. I know they got to kick it up a notch to this last episode, and at least we'll get something good here. And the last episode came, and I was still waiting, and then I was mostly not. I was just not as exciting. I'm sorry, and it was not great in my opinion. And maybe I'll let Dan speak to it a little bit more here as well. But I agree with you, Biz. There was definitely moments that took me right out. There's little pockets and moments that I really appreciate in it, which I love the attention to detail and some of the realism in some ways, because I like the idea of being able to live in Star Wars, which I know some people are taken back by that. They're like, no, it's a space opera, which I totally get too, because if you're missing the bigger picture and zeroing too close, and I think that's part of what they're running into. And I feel like there are multiple or multiple stories going on, I think is getting a little bit too much at this point. And that was even the overarching theme in the show. And I think they were falling prey to that as well during it. And I just had such higher expectations, I guess, especially from the guy who wrote the Narkina 5 segment. So I'm really hoping this is a slow arc before we get to some better stuff, but they're really going to have to pick it up a lot for the last 2 arcs of this. It was disappointing for me. Moments of greatness. Mon Mothma I thought was still good, and some of the stuff they showed there, I was more excited for that than a lot of other things. But anyway, I don't want to keep rambling. But Dan, what about you? Let's jump to you.
This is complicated, Ezra, because
it is.
I've been most excited for Andor season 2, and that one punched me right in the something.
The teeth.
Yeah, whatever it punched me, it did.
Right in the Gamorrean spiders.
And I was like, I was a little bit tired coming into it.
Gorman spiders. Sorry.
I mean, I was excited after the first 3 episodes, and I enjoyed, that, but also knew that the first 3 weren't the biggest hitters. The first 2 were kind of slow a little bit, but I liked the setup of the first one. The third one brought it all to a head. At least it had kind of a satisfying conclusion, although it was chaotic at the end. It was chaos. I was like, oh my goodness, what a dark way to end the third episode. Yes. Like so much happened in the last minute of that episode. You're like, oh my goodness, did that just happen? And then you're just like, your head's spinning and you walk away. I'm like, well, this is Andor. And then, then we get this one and we kind of brought it back down to earth. A year's gone by and it just dragged too much for me. And then I think it was the overall lack of hope that weighed really heavy in these 3 episodes.
Yes.
It was like everything was falling apart, and yes, they were building. I liked the Gormans. I liked going to Gorman. Mm-hmm. I loved how they did. That's why I said the first one was my favorite out of the 3. Because I liked how they set up Gorman. I love the look of it. I loved, getting to meet them and see what's happening on that planet with Cyril. He led the episode at the beginning, and I loved that. I loved following him around and
non-spoilers though. Still, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't want you to go too far. That's not really a spoiler. They know he's in it.
Yeah, I forgot we're non-spoilers. This is tough. I don't do non-spoilers.
I know it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Generally speaking. Yeah, it wasn't an up for me in the second arc. Again, I was a little tired. They were slow, so that didn't help. And then it didn't satisfy me. Dan.
Yeah, I fell asleep.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, we can't. No, I can't blame anybody for.
I don't think I've actually legitimately fallen asleep during the Andor episode before. It was pretty late, but it wasn't that late. I'm gonna say it wasn't that late though.
It wasn't that late. Yeah. No, I hear you, and that's from a passionate Andor fan.
With that being said, I actually don't think that the pacing was the biggest issue for me. I think I know what to expect now. I expect it to be a, okay, this is Andor, it's a slow burn, and that's fine. Like that, for the most part, it was actually, and I'm gonna have to save a lot of my thoughts for the actual spoiler section, so make sure to check that out. But there was just actual specific scenes. Like I've actually beginning to like a little bit of the slower pacing and whatnot, and there were some really good scenes, but there were some scenes that for me it just really took me out of it does not feel like Star Wars again, and I hate that's my main grudge with the show, but the first arc of season 2, I thought we were past that, with some, great lore drops and just the overall feel of it. But man, Gorman, well, we got to go to spoilers.
Yeah, we definitely got to get to spoilers. No, that's totally fair, and that's your opinion, man, and we respect that opinion for sure. And I think we are really feeling the same way about a lot of this. Definitely not hits. I think the best way, in fact, I'll go back to this.
Just go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
I won't say anything different.
Okay, gotcha. I think the best way I felt with this one was, and it not being Star Wars, is you almost have to advertise this as, and they kind of did in some ways, but this arc specifically, you need to advertise it as a World War II spy show that and go into it thinking that way. I think if you go into it thinking that way, then you won't be as disappointed as going into thinking it's a Star Wars show. The problem there is that people are expecting Star Wars when in reality it's a spy thriller show that has a lot of dialogue, a lot of intrigue, and a lot of character. There's just so much character stuff going on throughout this, and for that to hold our attention as Star Wars fans versus like if you were going to go see a spy thriller movie, you know what to expect. In this, we didn't. It feels a little blindsided, especially like you said, coming after the first 3 episodes. It felt more Star Wars.
Well, yeah, and that was kind of one of my points yesterday. So sorry, we'll add to this.
No, you're good.
We didn't get a new poster or even a new trailer for this arc. So they really didn't prepare us very much for this. Like you're saying, they could have maybe done a little bit of that, and that would have helped.
Yeah, it definitely would.
Maybe because they knew this wasn't the banger that we all kind of expected. They felt like they were confident in the first 3 because didn't they show those at Star Wars Celebration?
I believe so.
And so they've been showing everybody the first 3, and I think they're holding off because I've heard that the last 3 or the last 6 are really, really good. But see, I had heard that the last 9 were really, really good.
That's
And
what
when
I
I came
heard,
into
too.
this, that just keeps stepping up.
I heard it was all good, man. I heard it was all good.
Right?
Yeah,
Right.
I know
All
it's
the
true.
rumors.
But honestly, though, like my expectations, though, now with how much I critically acclaimed this and that and the third, how much was talked about Star Wars Celebration, this has got to be the weakest arc. Because if this isn't the weakest arc, like I'll be talking. You guys won't hear the end of it.
No, and
I would be very, very disappointed if we got anything worse than these 3.
I would say I'd become a fan after the last arc. Like,
yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
that's big too.
But still, okay, I don't want to go too like it's we got to get to ratings here, but it's not all bad, and there's definitely some moments I liked, some not too many spoilers, but some dead drill scenes I liked. So, but
yeah, a few moments of levity in there, and still characters that you enjoy, and I think that is also part of the disappointment. Is because we enjoy some of these characters when they're done right. But then there's also like moments in the show that you're like, oh man, I love this. I love this segment. I love what they're talking about. I love their way they're portraying this and even showing us this stuff, from the way they film it to the world around them and how like tangible everything feels and the world building and stuff like that. I love that. But then you have, it just gets so far away from everything. You're kind of like, just get to the point. Like, let's get to the point. Not necessarily filler, but so much exposition and so much buildup that I almost feel like that's why I say pacing, because it's so much buildup. It feels like that you're kind of losing people. And if you lose people, they're not going to care to watch it till the end. You still got to keep them intrigued the whole time. And it was intriguing enough in some ways, but
yeah.
If the next arc, like you said, Dan, if the next arc is as slow or as like kind of dry and with all the moments that really pull you out, I doubt people are going to watch it till the end. That's just the honest truth. I think people are going to be dipping out. So yeah.
Okay, I thought of so I said like the pacing wasn't an issue for me because this just felt like normal pacing. But with that being said, it's more so like what they accomplished. Like it feels like what's going on. Like it feels like the pace of Andor episodes, but where we start and where we leave off, it just doesn't feel like there was a lot being done. So I guess there is a pacing issue. Maybe I worded it a bit.
Okay.
Iffy,
No, I see what you're saying there. Yeah. No, for sure. And especially because this is like we get 1 year, and then this is the only time in that year that you chose to show.
Because I also I heard that it's supposed to jump a year again, right? So is next week supposed to jump a year?
Yeah, so we're going to be in 2
just
BBY.
Left on a spot where, I mean, I would be it'll be hard for me to understand why they would jump a year. Honestly, I feel like we'd be missing stuff at that point. But
right,
yeah, I don't know. I think that's what they're doing. But yeah, I think as I look back and understand what they did, this was going to be like 4 seasons of Andor or something, and they squashed it down into 4 arcs. Every year was supposed to be a season of Andor.
Oof.
And so they squished it, and it still felt like there was like too much talking,
like
or something.
You still needed to trim.
Man,
it
if
but
there
at the
was
same
4 seasons of that, I'd put
That's what
that
I'm
on as
saying.
my like sleeping. I'd sell.
Right. But
Oh
then
my
they said
God.
that they lost because they had to confine it. They tried to find the most interesting spot. I guess I'm thinking what I felt is that like this was kind of important, but also like, yeah, good setup, I guess, because of what they did set up, and they didn't, deliver the finale of it. So I think that's part of it. You know what I mean? Expecting, oh, well, if these are the most important days from this year or this time period for 2-3 BBY, then we should have gotten something even bigger. It feels like, and it was kind of big. We saw a lot of the characters that we know and love, and we got some small moments with all of them, and so but there wasn't enough action. Maybe I could say the music was good. I really like the music. If we're talking non-spoilers, because I don't have any complaints with the music.
No, music's still fantastic.
They're playing that very, very well,
and the cinematography,
and the beauty of it, the clothing, the
practical effects.
They've
everything.
gone over the moon with the look of it. It's for sure the world building is phenomenal. So
you see where a lot of the money went. In a lot of ways, a lot of the money went into that set design, to all the props, the music, to the cinematography. I mean, to the point, if you watch that video today that they released, they were talking about how they built that entire set
so cool
right behind Pinewood Studios. I mean, there's how much money had to have gone into that.
City.
Yeah, we built
like that needs to be at Star Wars Land or whatever.
Yeah, seriously, that would be.
You gotta get into spoilers, then you can talk specifics about it.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's do spoilers.
All right, let's get to it. Solo, we're gonna rate it here to finish off the non-spoilers. Let us know your ratings here too. We want to hear from you guys.
Are we doing the hand thing again?
Yes, we are.
I have it ready.
You have it ready. All right. Out of 5 hands and fingers, this is how we're rating it because of the 5 hands game. Man, that was funny and fun for us. But yeah, let's. So Biz, you're ready. I'm gonna jump right back to you, man. Then let's go with your rating. What's your rating on this arc? Non-spoilers.
2 fingers.
Wow.
No, okay, no, that was a joke.
At least it wasn't one in the middle.
Yeah. Whoa, fact checker.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, that was a bit too
Dang.
generous. No, but in all seriousness, I would give this one 1, 2, 3 hands and 1 finger is my rating.
Wow, that's actually better than I thought you were gonna give it. Honestly, like I was
the last episode saved it from being a 2 finger type of deal.
Yeah. Or a 1 finger if you're the fact checker, apparently.
No.
Sheesh.
2 hands.
Okay.
No, no.
There you
so
go.
3. I would say 3 hands. Probably.
That's fair. That's totally fair. All right, Dan, what about you? We did our initial one last night. Has it changed from last night for you?
I'm just gonna give myself a cushion because I am hearing people tell me to rewatch and whatnot. I do feel like I need to revisit some of this because I'm sure there were things that I missed that I don't appreciate. I think when I think back of it, the things that I liked, as I'm remembering, I like more, and the things I didn't like, I like less.
Yeah.
So it's like, and there was a
still
lot in
evening
this one
out.
that I liked less than
Yeah.
more. So my rating hasn't changed that much. I gave it 2.5 out of 5 last night, Bismo. I was not a happy camper. I was not a happy camper
Man.
for the arc.
Man,
for the arc.
Maybe I was
so
too generous.
you probably were. I'm gonna bump it up because I'm giving myself a little cushion. I'm gonna go 3, whatever that means. 1, 2, 3 hands.
Well, yeah, that's
Wow.
yeah, that's totally.
And
You
that-
just somehow pull out another
Yeah.
hand. It's like,
Yeah.
what the? Dan's an alien.
Yeah.
Dan's an
So
alien.
I'm going 3 hands out of 5 because I think there's a little more in there that I missed, and when I'm fresher, maybe I'll rewatch it. And We'll give him props because there's a lot going on, and it was definitely very thick. There was so much stuff happening in conversations that I was like, I might have like looked away for a split second and missed the whole thing because we're live streaming and I'm watching other things too, so I'm trying to watch. But when I watch TV, like really watch TV, like this is a new way of watching TV for me while streaming and watching chat, and you know what I'm saying?
You can't pause it and go back.
I pause and I go back. You're not lying. And I revisit. I was like, what do they say? I didn't get that. I'll ask somebody in the room. I appreciate the people in the chat filling us in though, because I was like, what did they say? And they're so smart.
Yeah.
So
They're
that's
I needed
cool.
to turn on subtitles. I kept turning them on and off because I kept
subtitles.
missing things. I was like, what the heck?
You need them.
I can't understand what they're saying.
So 3 for me.
All right, fact checker. What about you? Have you changed from last night?
I think I said 2.5 or 2 3/4. Wait, 2 hands, whatever. A little over 50% last night.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna stay there because I haven't rewatched and I got less sleep. So maybe I'm whatever.
You're not gonna give it any more than
no more credit from me today. But I'll rewatch it and maybe next week have a different take.
That's totally fair, fact checker. I'm gonna stick with my rating from last night, which was 2 hands and 2.5 fingers. That's my rating. It's straight mid for me. It was, not great, and it was not.
So
it was right in the middle. It was. I did not enjoy it that much, to be honest with you.
So I'm our highest rating. Am I just a Disney shill? What happened, guys?
Yeah, this is surprising.
You should have been in the stream last night, man. The shill jumpers were in, and they were calling us all the funny names.
They were, man. It was so funny.
As we were sitting there,
the last stream when that happened, I'm like, you guys are getting called chills.
Yeah, right. I know. I thought
this is as honest as it gets, folks.
Yeah,
it was funny.
We call it
maybe I need to rewatch so I can bring my rating down.
No, that's fair, man.
Because honestly, I gave it my benefit of the doubt. I just watched Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith, the best thing for me in the universe, and then I watched that. So I was like, maybe I just feel salty because it doesn't feel like Star Wars. But
no,
trust your gut.
From what
man.
you guys are saying, I think my rating can only go down.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the more I thought about it, the more I was just like, but then I tried to remember the good moments, and I was like, okay, there still were some good moments. I think the biggest thing also for me is it's starting to feel like he's pushing the envelope just to push the envelope. There, it's starting to be a little cliche with certain moments, and that's what's really starting to get under my skin with certain things. And if you're focusing more on that than you are the story, you're missing the mark. And anyway, but we got to get to the spoilers section. That was our rating. Let us know your rating. Hey, fact checker, what ratings? I see some over here in the comments. What are they saying out there? The Gonkers.
Yeah, we've got where to go.
I see.
Thank you.
Christina B has a 3.5 hands. That's fair. Yeah.
KG was 3 hands. Tamerkin's 3 hands. Upon rewatch, she said I gave it a 2 last night, and bumped it up to 3 today.
Okay, and who knows? Maybe with another watch, we might see some more pros in it as well.
Yeah.
But that's totally fair. Go ahead, Biz.
One more thing before we get to spoilers. I'll say this rating is kind of another one. It's where like if this is a setup, and it pans out okay, then my rating probably stands. But if they do not build off of this in a good way, I'm going to just fingers, no hands.
No, that's actually
you're gonna have a negative retrospective. Yeah.
Yes, that is a very good point, because depending on how they end this, how they land the ship will determine how bad this arc actually is. Because if all this setup and all this
on its own, it does not stand that well on its own. Like, at least in my opinion. Okay.
And
Agreed.
And Yaki gave it 4. And now I saw a lot of people online that just kept praising it. They're just like, another winner, another good one, another just keeps improving. And
that's funny because I mostly saw hate. I must have saw the wrong.
You see what you want to see?
I see the opposite of that.
It depends on who you're subscribed to, but you know what I'm saying. The people that you listen,
but
and you're like, I don't really for you and whatnot. Like I go on Twitter and it's just a lot of positivity and whatnot.
A lot of positivity.
I saw like a lot. I didn't even see any negativity, which I was like,
right. That's how I feel.
I was trying not to get spoiled because like I had only got. I watched basically half of it, and I just was trying to like see a little bit of what people were saying, but then I was like, I don't want to get spoiled. But I was like, okay, it seemed like everyone liked this. I like certain scenes, but all right, are we jumping to?
Yeah, we gotta get into the spoilers, man. All right, so if you haven't seen Andor season 2 episodes 4 through 6, we are going to spoil them right meow. We're gonna count it down. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You know the line.
Everybody dies.
the pause. The pause got me.
Yeah. Dude. No, I knew the line. I'll be honest, I don't even know the character's name who died. That's how invested.
Oh yeah,
that's true. Because she was kind of a smaller.
They're the weakest link, dude. They're the weakest link of this entire show.
Yeah, they leaned into it.
Maybe that's part of the reasoning too. Is like I was indifferent with the death.
Right.
Like I think I felt worse for the other character that was affected by it, and it was pretty brutal. And I actually I didn't like care that much, to be honest, about the character that like it was sad, but I was more so appreciative of the realism though of it. Though like they sure they're portraying them as inexperienced and whatnot. Now this is real world, like accidents happen and whatnot. Right. So like I did like the realism in it, and that kind of did bring it back to me. But yeah, during this watch and from what I knew going into this is I thought we were getting 3 complete 3 episodes of complete arc. So I thought the Gorman massacre or whatever was going to be episode 6 or at least something bigger. So like while I was watching, I'm like, okay, like we're kind of running out of time here. What's going on here? Like this is what I get. I just watched 3 hours essentially of Andor for this.
And you got a little botched, failed like hallway high school drama like finale. It at least as far as that goes, it felt like maybe a mid Andor season 1 kind of. It wasn't even half of what Aldhani.
No, it wasn't.
You know what I'm saying, from season 1, which was the full pay, week's pay or whatever for the entire empire. No. We're stealing like a few things, but it's all a plant, so it's not even like that's how dumb they are. They've all just fallen hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
So like you can't even be excited for them. At least with the failed attempts from season 1 at Aldhani, like the deaths, like they meant something for because there was a big payday, and it helped Andor. Mm-hmm. This time Andor wasn't even there, so he was like against it. It was just kind of he quit. He's like, this is a dumb idea, and it was. Yeah. And then they brought in the 2 girls from season 1 that, to be honest, in my opinion, were the weakest part of the whole season.
Yeah.
And they just kind of just one note. And then they just took out, what's her name? She's kind of like the assassin, if you didn't know Abysmo, like when Luthen needs something done, she's the one.
Yeah.
And she does the dark deeds.
But they didn't explain that or show that. That's the other thing that like is kind of
and
it's like
she referenced something in a dialogue now that's like, okay, so I'm assuming she's talking about when that one guy got whacked.
Is that what she was referring
to?
That's my assumption, but they didn't give that
but like
clearly.
now it's like we're not going to hear anything about that. So that's just kind of like a waste.
Well, we have to because Mon seemed very fine in this.
Yeah.
If she lost Tay Kolma, she was like, "What's up, Luthen? Hey, Perrin. Like, we're pretty good now."
Kind of. She's still
compared to where we saw her at the end of the other one. She's
like,
I'm losing my mind for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
And then like here she is. And now everything's fine, kind of not. It didn't feel like that happened. Maybe he didn't die. Maybe he's still fine.
I think the perfect thing here is
they didn't follow up on that.
Yeah, they fell into the trap also of so much in storytelling is show, don't tell. Instead, what they did was they told everything and didn't show hardly anything. They just expected us, and there's too many loose threads. You gotta finish this stuff unless you're planning to with the next 2 arcs, but I don't know, like especially with those 2 characters for how one note they are, like they just show up and then you expect us to like, I don't know, be invested in them when you don't show us anything they do.
Well, yeah, I just that's what I'm saying.
Be emotional.
That's where it bothers me because I see people even in a chat like that felt something for those characters, and I'm glad that if you like those characters, that's more power to you. I'm not dissing that, but I'm just feeling like the way that they treated them in a lot of ways was confusing. And
it's unnecessary for me.
And it was unnecessary. It didn't play into the overall storyline. It was kind of a side mission.
Yeah.
And so then even the result of like her just dying, but like the other one not dying at the same time doesn't even make sense as much. I guess it kind of does. but it's just kind of a weird thing. And
I feel like, dude, like I feel like I knew that was gonna happen.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
once they had that, whatever, our heart to heart. Like I'm like, all right, one of them is dead. Like
that's the rule.
Like,
that's
you're
the
giving
Disney
that away.
rule.
Yeah, like one of them. Like, did you guys get that?
Oh yeah.
We thought they were both going.
We were hoping.
Okay.
I mean, we thought they were both.
We
going.
thought the whole. I mean, in the chat, we're talking like we thought that the entire group might not make it.
Oh yeah.
Like the whole Gorman group, the family. Yeah. That would have been a bad.
I liked the family more than I liked those two characters. I would have much rather seen that family.
Yeah.
Bless you.
That comes out of nowhere, man. Sorry.
Yeah.
Look,
So-
you broke the camera when it happened.
I broke it.
So before I get into my, my lead. Wait, what? What happened?
Broke the camera. No.
It's not all over the camera. What
No,
happened?
no. Gross. No, I didn't do that. No, it just I broke it because I sneezed so
You used
loud.
the force.
I used the force. That's called the force sneeze. It's a new move. Takes people out one shot.
So I guess before I completely dismantle this thing, no, I'm kidding. But this feels like a safe space now. That since I'm the biggest fan of Andor on the
Yeah.
screen,
We joked that this day would come.
We joked this day would come, and
And
now I
we
have to
spoke
love
it-
Ahsoka season 2.
We spoke it into existence. Oh my goodness!
I'm a little bit upset with my past self, but like I said, it could drop heavily. That was just my first impression on a rewatch. I think it would drop even more. I think it's just because it ended on a little bit higher note than me that it really saved it. Well, like to some extent, it ended on a more like overall the last episode was good. And that some of my favorite scenes was the Luthen and Clea scene at the party. I actually that was really captivating. When Krennic showed up and they it's such a simple thing. Like we got to remove this listening device, but you're really like, oh my gosh, he's literally right there. Like they're not going to be able to do it. Like they got me for that whole
Yeah,
I mean, Luthen.
That's one of the highlights.
Is a great character. That was a really fun, really good scene for me. And then, then a highlight was the Bix getting her revenge. With Andor. I like that Andor is going against the grain a little bit, showing some of that humanity of like, hey man, like I said, I'll be a rebel, but you're working me to death here. Like it gotta, and you're not caring for Bix, who clearly care for.
Yeah,
but
everybody's getting kind of fed up with Luthen at this point, and I don't know if they're just setting up his demise.
Like, who are we supposed to root for? This is what bothers me a little bit. Like, the hero disappeared. Like, there was basically no hero in this. It was just confusing. Other than like maybe Cyril, we were happy when Cyril had his day. Yeah, when he had his day, he was like, if I said this was the best day of my life, would that ruin the moment? And I was like, that was the best part of the show for me, other than when Krennic showed up and they were at that thing. I felt like that had some weight to it. I was like,
anytime Krennic shows up, it takes it up a notch.
Yeah, the ISB stuff.
ISB scenes were good. And yeah, Cyril, honestly, I thought he was like, and maybe he still will, but I thought we were starting to get the arc where he's like, he cares for people and whatnot. But then, that scene where he's actually just basically rage baiting and feeding them false information. I really liked how Andor calls it too. He's like, like they're pretty good at feeding information.
Right.
That's exactly what's going on. Like,
that's how I was like,
pretty,
show him his face. Like, you'll know. Just show him who it is. Like, and then Andor would be like, no, that dude's Imperial. Like, Oh, that's like the.
Would he know? Would he know him? Yeah, he would.
He would. Yeah.
From the first,
he arrested him, or like
he knew.
He put a gun to his head.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, in the first arc of season 1. Yeah,
I was kind of like the thing I was most excited, I thought they'd see each other face to face, which I think like that's probably what's gonna be end up happening later. But like I thought we might be getting that. Like, oh, they're both going to there. I like the mystery that like the Cyril and Dedra dynamic now, where like even his mom's calling out like, oh, he left everything, and he's secretly still working with Dedra. But you're starting to see a little bit of there's a little bit of a rift. She only gets an hour. There's more rules. Only an hour with the Cyril and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
And it felt like she was using him a little bit.
Oh, yeah,
a couple
he's
times.
Yeah, like
Complete
are
patsy.
we gonna see? Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
He's a complete patsy, is what fact checker said with Cyril. Yeah,
I'm kind of. I hope.
Go ahead.
I hope they stay together though. But like, it's starting to look like there's going to be some kind of rift or something that pushes one of them. Like, wow, maybe the Empire isn't so good.
Yeah.
But something like that.
I feel like that moment is going to happen with Cyril and Dedra for sure. And yeah, all of these interesting arcs that we're talking about is also the point with Cinta and Vel, that it just feels so much lackluster compared to everything else going on, that I feel like you're getting lost in the weeds with that whole segment, when what we really should be focusing on is Mon Mothma, Luthen, Andor. And if you want to go into Gorman, use that Cyril thing and leave those two out of it. I just feel like anytime they showed up in this show, it just felt like forced I don't know, forced drama. And that's the thing. It's getting almost too dramatic. I'm getting to the point where it's like,
good they got rid of one of them though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Imagine if they made it out,
Yeah.
and then made out.
Right.
Etc.
But yeah, so that's also just why it was slow in a lot of ways. But maybe we should do a quick pros and cons real fast though. Let's hit some pros really fast of what we actually liked, and then we'll finish. Maybe we should do cons. We're kind of already in cons, really. Any other cons you guys liked, and then we'll do some pros and we'll jump out. But any more cons you guys want
we're
to
still
touch?
going cons. I haven't even gone to my main cons.
Oh, hit it, man.
But, let's hear it.
Okay, my episode 2 was, or I guess of this arc. So what is it? Episode 5 was my lowest rating, and I probably would rate it lower on a rewatch. But man, for me, like the first time they played that television in the first arc of like the Imperial Gorman, I actually liked that. Now they've got this minor thing, but the TV in the background, it sounds so like Americanized, like television. It just immediately put me out of it. And then the scene with Bix and Andor when they go to the convenience store, like, why does it feel like they're in an actual like convenience store, like a store that you can
New York City
be in the like it just, again, from a story perspective, not the biggest thing, but those things immediately took me out. Like I was upset with some of those. Like
really?
The television, it's literally sounded like I'm like, what? I'm supposed to be watching Star Wars right now, but again, I guess I got to start taking it. It just seemed like this whole arc, it just felt a little bit more like, man, Tony doesn't care. Like he cared last arc, but now he doesn't really care. Like he just wants to tell his story, and it happens to have the name Star Wars on it. It really came back to what season 1 felt like in a lot of ways for me. But even like, I would say in a lot of ways, this went even further in that. And then another thing, I know they're not actually speaking like a language from our planet, but it's a mix between French and German. So it sounds close enough that even that was starting to throw me off. Yes, they speak.
They created their own, actually. They used French as the basic, and then and then they added.
I didn't say that. Like they combined French and German for Gorman or whatever. It's still like, I guess, being that I'm an English speaker at first, it's even that took me out of it because I'm like, man, are they just talking French? But at least that wasn't the case. But I'm just saying what I felt on it is, I immediately, it's not that they were necessarily speaking a language from Earth, but it's just like it sounded so similar that it took me out of it for a second. I'm like, man, are we just in France right now? But like, I don't obviously know the language. But.
Right. No, I think that's a valid point. I did think that too. I was like, are they actually just speaking French? Because if they are, I don't love that, to be honest. I know that sounds a little weird, but Star Wars is not supposed to be Earth, to your point.
Yeah, it's not even supposed to be English. It's just that's
basic.
The most popular. Yeah, it's the galactic basic is what that is supposed to be.
Exactly.
And even that, like, yeah. So anyhow, that was my long-winded rant of why it didn't really feel like Star Wars for a little bit.
No, that's perfectly okay.
That's the aesthetic, that you picked out, and it didn't work for you. So nobody can argue with that, because we thought it was funny when we saw the TV. Yes, we were both. I think Dustin, you were like, I could see us. I think some people are going to be mad about this because this feels a little earthy, And then the convenience store and the cityscape.
The funny thing about
I kept saying like Batman. I'm like, all right, here we are. It's like Dark Knight,
Yeah, the rain and everything.
The dark of Gotham City, kind of, very real life. But
yeah, I the funny thing to you about the convenience store, see, the TV I liked less, although I understand that kind of stuff is going to happen in that world. I mean, it is what it is. Not that we necessarily need to see it. If we're going to see it in a show, it's going to be this one kind of. But the convenience store thing, I didn't have as much of a problem with the convenience store because it did feel more like it almost felt Rebels-y in some ways to me, because like they had to do that kind of stuff in Rebels. And obviously those normal day things do still have to happen, but in Star Wars, I can understand most of the time they skip that stuff because it is a space opera. But I actually appreciated the attention to detail and the way that they at least tweaked things to feel more Star Wars. And that it almost felt like video game like in some ways to me, on how like, oh cool, like we're getting to explore more of the galaxy in the universe. So that didn't really take me out as much. But the TV show definitely felt more Hunger Games, and that was but
yeah, that's like exactly what I was going to say. Yeah,
but at the same time, they are in Coruscant, and there is a lot of propaganda stuff going on right now. It makes sense that they would have it, but did we necessarily need to see it? That's how they portray it and stuff like that is the challenging part.
It's just what it sounded like was the problem for me. Like obviously they're going to have ways to communicate that are going to be similar or based off of. It's just what it sounded like a stereotypical like Americanized broadcast from America,
right.
But with that being said, like if it was just a convenience store, like that's not the biggest deal for me, and a lot of these things are pretty minor. It's more so the collection of everything in this park.
It was the collection,
it just kept hitting me, but like again, like when I'm trying to watch, I'm just trying to get locked in, and I'm trying to take a step back and give Andor, because like I know it's not supposed to, like clearly obviously we're like 15 episodes in, it's not supposed to be like an Ahsoka type show where it's like heavy lore based like space opera. Like it's supposed to be more serious in tone. It was just, I mean, I kept getting slapped back, and like I finally was like, okay, man, that took me out for a second. That's just
because it's also like you're like okay, with the first 3 episodes, you're like, okay, I'm seeing what they're doing here. It looks like they've course corrected a little bit, and okay, I'm trying to understand the perspective that he's coming from, and then he like lays it on thick.
It was like a lot,
and you're like okay, you didn't need to go that far. I
got about one of those scenes per episode.
Yeah. So I can understand that in a lot. And then the problem with it too, in a lot of ways, I think why so many people and why you didn't like that in a lot of ways too, is because it feels like we're getting bogged down in the weeds again, instead of going for like the exciting stuff to see,
right.
Like
it felt like it was, it got the world. While yes, we got a new planet in Gorman, and they really leaned into that. I like that. I like meeting the new people, the language, the town hall. We talked about World War II resistance, French resistance. He's digging into that part of it. I liked that feel because it looked incredible. It felt very heavy. But at the same time, in some ways, the world got a lot smaller because like everybody kept running into each other. Like all of our main characters ended up at that same party. All the rest of the characters all ended up at the same tiny little heist on Gorman. You know what I'm saying? And then Andor and Bix were off doing that last thing, which actually was the most fascinating ending. And we got about 22 seconds of it.
That is what they should have focused on.
Because they spent like the entire time with Bix and Andor arguing over whether or not she should be in it, whether or not she is healthy, and then the spice problem that she's having, and that was the overarching thing for like 2/3 of actually 99% of it, and then the last 1%, we're like, oh, okay, I'm glad that they're together and they worked it out, and now they're just doing their thing. That's cool. And then they took out Gorst, but they could have. That's why I said they could have built up to that. They could have shown us a whole episode of how we're going to take out. All right, we're going to give you what you deserve, Bixen. We're going to take out this terrible person, because clearly they just said that they were giving him this whole facility to do,
train others.
And if they found, let's say they found out about that, and then Andor was like, we can't let that happen. And Bix is like, I'm not going to let that happen. I will go in and take it out. And Andor's like, well, I'll help you. Okay, cool. And then we could have built with that. We didn't need Luthen. We could have done our, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That would have been, because that's basically what they did. They blew it up, I'm presuming. Right. On top of the fact that he got
taste of his own medicine,
retortured. So that was fascinating. I didn't, so in that, like, I was like, wow, that was really cool. why didn't I get more of that? And we're getting all this other stuff over here. Obviously, Gorman's not done. So I think, yes, when Andor runs into Cyril, we're going to be like, that's going to be cool. And realizes that, wait, does he care about the mission he's on now, or does he actually care about Axis? And you know what I mean? Is he back on that? And then Dedra's going to lose her cool and be like, crap, Axis, I'm taking it back from that guy, and things are going to fall off the rails again.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a complicated thing, but I see what you're saying, Bismo, about taking you out of it. I don't blame you.
Yeah, no, I could see that in so many ways.
I just felt like the overall thing, like you said, it was not a punch in the face for me as much as it was like I was just like swirling and lost and
it's like
slow and like, and then we got
like what you're saying, what we're focused on. Like, did Mon Mothma? I can't remember if she was even in the 4th or 5th, and what she get 5 minutes of screen time on the 6th episode or something like that.
She was in the 4th. I thought she was actually one of the most interesting parts in the 4th was whenever she was trying to convince all these senators.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that scene. I'll be honest.
But that was some good stuff. Yeah. And even the line she had in there, which was, "Are we arresting criminals or making them?" And that was a great line. And I love that she said that. But I felt like that is so much more interesting. And sometimes it's like politics done right in Star Wars can be fascinating. And I feel like she's the right one to follow. And they did a little bit, but it was so little.
Yeah.
That you forgot about it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that was my concern wasn't Mon Mothma. It was the lack of Mon Mothma. Was the concern.
Yeah, like I agree, because Mothma stole
how they ended the arc with that that hit on the ISB interrogation doctor. Like, yeah, that was super interesting. I'm like, man, this is a really cool scene. Like, and exactly what you're saying. Why didn't we get more of it, a little bit more focus on it? It was like a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one.
Yeah,
and I mean, honestly, that. Again, things like that. I don't know what my rating would be if like we didn't get any of something like that.
Right,
it'd be pretty low.
Right, and even the climax of we liked Krennic, but I felt like it was just kind of weird, not that interesting. Kalea trying to get that thing off for like way too long.
Yeah,
I was it's not becoming that. Was that really going to completely derail the rebellion? Or was that like a personal problem? It's like,
right.
I don't think that is like the climax of this where they all had to be in the same room and like, we're like, that's the forced tension.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, that was weird.
I felt the forced tension and I was definitely locked in at the moment. But yeah, I had questions. I was kind of like, okay, so wait, why are they going to find it though? Like, are they buying that piece right now? Like, why are they going to randomly find it? Like right now, like maybe I missed something. But
well, and he was mad about the forgery, but what did that have to do with the one that was underneath that? That wasn't the forgery.
No, it was just the fact that they would discover that it was bugged and that Luthen gave it to him.
Because the forgery inspired them to go through all of the pieces.
Yes,
and so then that potentially could have derailed the fact that they were bugged because Luthen didn't want Clea to bug it, didn't know that she bugged it.
No, he knew and he signed off on it. She said,
but he was mad about it.
But now he's mad about it, even though she's like, you knew about it. But they were getting into that again. It felt a little forced again.
But that's it felt small potatoes too. It's like that could have Andor could have solved that in about 5 minutes if they actually sent him in to do the job. You know what I'm saying, or something like that.
Yeah,
it just didn't seem like it had to be done.
It comes back to what you guys are saying. For a year span, this is the most interesting story we have throughout the entirety of the Empire, and just it's a big galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's I just felt like there was a way more interesting way you could have told this story and got us a lot more involved and narrowed in. I feel like part of the problem is sometimes Tony Gilroy, he's great at writing, but at the same time, if you don't follow up on all those leads and if you don't connect all of them, like even go back to season 1, one of the biggest cons was like, what happened to the whole sister arc? What happened to this arc? You're like, they're just gone. That's also like Tay Colma. What happened to that arc? Is he gone? Is he not gone? We have no idea. I mean, that still could be answered, but then you're left with too many questions. And that's part of the problem. You got to follow us. You got to help us through in some ways. In some ways, he's trying to just write intelligence so that we can figure it out on our own.
And rewatch it.
Give
it rewatchability. I appreciate the rewatchability.
Right, because there's so much there.
There's a lot. It's dense. It's a dense piece of cake.
But one of my biggest cons I'm going to go into real quick is the way that they're pushing the envelope with certain scenes. They're kind of getting a little heavy with, some of the intimate scenes and stuff like that. I was thinking about it more today, and even the last arc, the first arc, which I didn't have as big of a problem as a lot of people did. But the thing I was thinking about more today, though, I was like, I know this is definitely a show for for adults, but at the same time, I don't like the fact that they're trying to push it so much, because what could it lead to? And that was my more of my concern I had today was, when will they actually stop pushing the envelope in Star Wars? And I think if they don't, then you're definitely going to go over the line, and you should pull it back, depending on what it is. But so that's what I was wrestling with a little bit. And those scenes in this, for me, took me out of Star Wars more than anything else. I don't know why that is, but those scenes were just like, I was like, I don't necessarily need to see this. It felt awkward for me, personally. That's just my personal opinion. And it just felt like they were pushing things a little bit whenever we should have moved things along. And the pacing was probably the biggest con.
You're talking about the romance scene with Bix and Andor, right?
Yeah, Bix and Andor, I just felt like they lingered on things a little long. The whole shut off the lights thing. I actually, out of all of them, the shut off the lights thing, I think was the quickest. It was implied.
That's fine.
Yeah,
in my opinion, I think that's
right.
That's like how they should have treated last week's problem. Like, that's more of a like, all right, you can imply what's happening.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
With the Bix and the Andor romance, like, I thought I was watching Game of Thrones for a second, and I was not even like, I wasn't gonna be surprised if they went all the way for how far they were going.
Yeah, I know. I even said that. I was like, we're not watching an HBO show right now, right? I hope they know that, because even in the first 3 episodes, I didn't really defend them, but I was like, okay, well, understand why they said it and why they did it, and at least the dude got his comeuppance.
Well,
there was the satisfaction to that. But if you're gonna keep pushing things,
right,
just to push things and be edgy in Star Wars, then you're missing the mark here.
I think this is an opportunity, because everybody, including me, has given Gilroy a pass. You know what I mean? To do whatever. And based on the conversations, he's actually pretty close with Kathleen Kennedy. And that's kind of interesting. So I think this is an opportunity for Star Wars to put their name on like the social map again by pushing it. So we had a shock value in episode 1 through 3 with the word, and that moment that was the most controversial thing we've ever seen as far as like Star Wars
anybody talked about.
It's all anybody talked about. And now we got this other one that happened in the 3rd episode of this one with the chicks, and that was maybe not whatever, but that was a shock moment on top of the rest of the pushing the envelope with scenes or whatever, right? With all the romance happening.
I don't have a problem with romance. I think part of it though too was it just felt like just so casual about things. I didn't love that fact. Whereas because in even Revenge of the Sith, we get romance. I don't have a problem with that. They just don't linger on it forever.
It was like shock value for shock value's sake.
Yeah. But they built to it. They built to it. It was it led to something. It was I don't know. The way they handled this just felt too casual.
Yeah, with modern television, HBO shows, like, that's what I would expect, and that's like, it comes back to what were my biggest problems with it. Because I don't have a problem with like romance in shows. It's like, I can't honestly believe that they're doing that out of writing. Like, they are just trying to be the next, Game of Thrones, the next Last of Us. They're trying to be edgy, like you guys are saying. With season 1, a lot of these like scenes, like we didn't get something like that, but I always got that vibe that just like, it doesn't necessarily feel like Star Wars. They're trying to make it, the next, like the next Game of Thrones or whatever. And then doing these scenes like that only further my like bias of thinking, man, I don't know if they're doing that based off of just story, or they're just trying to be cool.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
They're trying to be in touch with it.
That's
feels
more
out
my
of touch
point.
when they do that.
Well, because you got like Madman. You had Madman Saw Gerrera, and he's like crazy. And that's fascinating, but it's like Joker-esque, like Madman. And that whole thing ended with him just being crazy with poor Wilmon. Like, Wilmon, you need to get the heck out of there. And then you got call it what it is. It's basically drug usage in the first.
Yeah.
And so you're playing up that side of it, you know. So every time Bix was in the scene, the whole first 2 episodes, you're like, is she coherent right now? Is she not coherent? Like, is this a dream? Is this not a dream? So when the Gorse thing happened at the end, I was literally like, is this a dream? This must be a dream. And then it was actually real. And maybe that's why he did it, because he's like, well, you're not going to know if it's real until I give you the moment and it's real. And you're like, oh, you're sneaky. But he tricked us, you know. So I was kind of like, he's pushing the envelope. He's pushing the envelope. He's pushing the envelope. Because he can. And it's starting to feel like a little too much. Like, give me more of the meat of this show, and not just the shocker character moments. But that's how he writes, and that's how he delivers what he delivers, and that's why the show can get the gravitas and maybe win an Emmy, because that's what Star Wars wants. That's why they're willing to spend $650 million on this season or show.
And so many people want like realism. Like, I think so many people equate realism to be Emmy worthy. You know what I mean? Like, how real and raw can you gets you the Emmy, you know? But I don't know. Again, you're missing the mark.
There's realism and there's Star Wars realism. And then spice or whatever it was that she was taking for sleep, you know, and then Luthen acknowledged that it's something that's not going to help you long term, and this, that, and the other. And I presume now that she is healthy because she's with Andor and they did the moment, you know, right? She got a revenge. So I presume now moving forward, she won't be doing that. You know what I'm saying?
But that's not really how he writes. And that's the thing. Like, we assume something's going to happen because he leaves off that way. And then we're probably not even going to visit that again. That's the problem. I'm like,
and I guess you take Star Wars, and you're like, there are a couple of reasons why I appreciate Star Wars, because you can watch it with the whole family typically. Okay. Now, I've also been wanting something that's maybe not all for the entire family.
Yeah.
But there's a fine line there.
Yeah, we're like balancing. We're like teetering.
This is the adult version that I asked for, but I didn't necessarily need more like people in bedrooms together. I didn't need people doing drugs, and I didn't need like, you know, the language isn't there. At least, like, if this was a HBO Max, it'd be like, you know, what word, every other word, you know, and it'd be going off, you know, on top of the usage, on top of the explicits, you know. So it's like that's what modern shows do, and that's all they do the whole show, and they just hit you in the head with it because that's what's cool. So at least they're not going there, but they're trying to push it. And I want the story to carry itself. Like, I don't need the shocker of like, oh no, she's doing a thing, let's watch her trip out for 20 minutes. Oh no, Saw's like the Joker for like a half hour with like the Rhydonium or whatever, that's who he is. He's crazy. But it felt like a little bit, I don't need this to enjoy this, you know what I'm saying? But maybe there are some people out there that do want that because they watch more cool, hip stuff. I don't know.
I think Tony in some ways gets lost again in like delving deep into the characters. Which again, it's not.
No, that's fine.
That's fine.
That's why he's here.
Right. It's just, again, that's why I want that balance though.
Yeah.
You get Dave, you get Jon Favreau. You could be like, all right, dude, you have some great like content here, and also our opinions and our view of it is also the challenging part. I feel like we, like what you said, Bismo, too. We have to almost change our minds and be like, okay, we're coming into Andor as a World War II spy movie, but it's in Star Wars. And if we look at it more from that angle, to expect spy thriller, not Star Wars, I think you'll be less disappointed than if you're looking at it from, oh, this is a Star Wars show. It's like, I don't know. But we've definitely talked about a lot of the cons, which there are a lot. We probably could go into more. Mm-hmm. Let's set up a few pros, because there definitely were some pros to this. We've named a few. But Biz, you want to hit me with a few pros that you like, since you had the highest rating out of all of us?
$675 million for this?
Yeah,
right. I did say some of my pros kind of already, but even though it was forced tension, I still liked the scene with Krennic, just from a standpoint of like it kept me locked in.
Yeah.
I didn't fully understand it, but like, I was on edge, and I think that's partly because those ISB agents are, and anytime there's scenes with the ISB agents, that was kind of just a pro overall for the whole arc. Just anytime the ISB involvement, Dedra, the little bit of screen time she did get, and probably Cyril, Dedra, and the ISB, just any of the Imperial stuff, which we didn't get a ton of, and just seeing that competitive nature of the Empire, from that perspective.
Yeah, that's a great point. I feel like they really show the Empire well in this show. That's one of the things they definitely succeed on, is showing the Empire and the hierarchy and how everybody's kind of vying for power and how to move up and to take more, especially in the ISB, to your point. So that's a great point for me. I love the scenes again, with Krennic. Anytime Krennic's in there, it just elevates things. But specifically, also the scene when Mon Mothma and Krennic are going back and forth by like stories, and like his perspective is a lot like he's twisting it and she's saying it the way she sees it, and you're just like, wow, you are definitely getting their ideology in an argument, but like a political neutral argument. Everybody's like uncomfortable, but like she's pushing, she's not afraid to push the envelope with him. And I like that. And they're starting to show more of the rebel leader. I mean, she becomes the leader of the rebellion. And I liked seeing that, and how she was so disgusted in the Senate chambers that she just walked out. She stopped saying what everybody else was saying, just walked out. And I love that kind of stuff, because for me, I almost felt like Andor season 2 should have almost just been Rise of the Rebellion. And each year should have been a significant moment that either set back the rebellion or helped the rebellion grow to what it is. And I feel like in a twisted way, we are getting that, but not to the full extent of how it could be portrayed and how epic that could be. So, and I know it's more spy thriller, but you could have really put Andor in like very significant points, which they're kind of doing with the Gorman Massacre. But I almost feel like Gorman Massacre should have been 1. And then we should have had, like the Rebels stuff, Lothal, which I think we're going to get to. But there could have been so many different things you could have done. But that was definitely a pro. And Cyril and Dedra were a pro as well. And I did enjoy watching him. And I liked some of what Saw Gerrera had to offer. I liked some of his monologue, but for how crazy he was, it did leave you feeling like, oh, dude, this guy's insane, which is the point. I mean, he is supposed to be completely insane by the time we get to Rogue One. And I liked a lot of the gear. So the gear I loved in the show, all the gear that they had, the detail that they had with all the gear. That is my favorite thing. Every time I'm like, is that a watch? I want that watch. And like the what was his grill he had? I was like, that's a sweet grill. I gotta have a Star Wars grill.
If they had a purchase now option at the bottom of the show while Dustin was watching, his cart would be full by now.
It would be full. I would be buying all of that. Those Star Wars. Gorman attire, yeah, those shades even. No, I just love that. I love that stuff. Like if I were to ever work on Star Wars, I would like die happy just working on like set design and making everything look Star Wars and be props. It's so cool. So those are some of my highlights. I went a little too long though. What about you, Dan? Pros?
Yeah, I was gonna say the things that made me feel something that I got excited about was the beginning of episode 4. When was it that when he was sent to Gorman initially? Or was that at 5? I think he was sent in 4, wasn't he? Andor was sent in 4. But anyway, when he first went to Gorman and we got to see the first aesthetic, I loved that. I love the music. I love how it's set up with the fanciness of it all. I really did like that. I liked seeing Cyril there working, talking to his mom. Any of the stuff with Cyril to me is the best because he's carrying it. He's the levity, but you don't know what he's going to do. And he's taking it seriously, but nobody else is because we're all laughing at him, but it works. And him and Dedra obviously work. So those 2 things so far. 3, I liked Saw when he figured out the spy, the guy that was the mole. And I liked how that played because we thought, the kid's going to get it, And then
was he actually a mole or was he a plant? What did they plant that on him?
Yeah, I don't know, but that intrigue when that turned, that was a cool moment with Saw.
Yeah,
because otherwise it was just chaos with Saw, and the rest of Saw I could take or leave. He's just kind of a loose cannon. I think there's something that ties in that I probably need to watch with his sister and going back to Rebels or Clone Wars, I mean, and maybe Rebels. But I like so there's something there, and then I liked obviously all the Empire stuff with Cyril and Dedra, and last but not least, when Krennic and Mon Mothma, when they were walking into that room and they turn around and Krennic appeared, you're like, oh crap!
Here we go.
Like that's where Tony needs to just put them in the room like that maybe a little bit less convenient. Find some other better reason. But then just another dinner party, you know what I'm saying? Because like, all right, we get it. It's another dinner party. Bruce Wayne, you know.
Yeah.
But like
a lot of those.
yeah, it's fine. It's a good enough excuse. But I'm like, really? So all of the ISB people we've been talking to were there. All of Luth and Clay, conveniently they're doing this, and they're running into Lonnie, and Lonnie's with So like the whole it's a little convenient. It doesn't matter though, because when Mon and Krennic were chatting with Luth and looking over his shoulder, I was like, this is like peak like tension, like real tension. And so I liked that. I you could have thrown Thrawn in there, as we were saying.
Yes.
And Thrawn verbally jousting with Mon, or one of these, or putting down Krennic. If Tarkin had shown up, I mean, the weight of all of these guys.
Papa Palp should have been in that dang
chamber,
the Senate chamber.
That
threw me off. Like, I was like, wait, they can be in that chamber and not be the Emperor
without him.
Like,
but that's what Tony said. Yeah, he didn't want to write for Palpatine.
I saw that. But at the same time, then don't put somebody in his chair, man. Like, what do you mean? It seems like you had an opportunity.
Yeah.
Don't give us hope.
It felt a little.
I did like the.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, but he'll write all this. Some of this other chaos.
Oh,
it seems like he could have dove into Palpatine. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I did like I think it's in episode 4 or 5 where they reference his name at least. Like, at least continuation. I forget exactly who does, but somebody references him again, which is good. At least acknowledge that we are still in Star Wars, please.
Right. He said the Emperor. He doesn't. That's kind of what I liked also with the Gorman. One of the things I liked with the Gormans was that family of French rebellions.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how that dad came across, and the way that he was portraying things made sense. And you're like, they are stuck between a rock and a hard place, and they don't understand why they're being singled out. And there's so much intrigue for so many different characters. We're kind of getting lost with how many different things there are. I mean, I just remembered that Dedra is not telling Cyril what the real reason is. That's going to come back to bite her probably at some point, if not him. You got the father with the kids and why they're stuck there with all that stuff. So the other thing with the whole Gorman thing that would have helped not feel so French World War II, it would have been if those were aliens, like legit aliens on Gorman. I think that would have actually helped a lot, helped us feel like we were in Star Wars so much more. Even if it was like some sort of race that was more like Twi'lek, that were still humanoid, that you could put up in, real stuff, not CGI. I think that would have helped a lot for that sequence. And it would have been a lot more believable. But I understand why they did it. Obviously, budgets and stuff like that. But yeah.
Well, what budget? They had enough. They had enough budget. The music was great though. I do like Gorman overall, but yeah, just the speaking at first threw me off. I was happy to find out that is at least they did make it its own language, and yeah, I mean that's very nitpicky for me to go on that. But again, it was the collection of things. But yeah, the music was great. The aesthetics were good. Yet again, like Andor is always going to look pretty. Like, I think you can safely say, like, it's always going to look good. That's the pro I can definitively give.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. The cinematography is spot on, and the way they even frame things. I love the way they frame things, because there's like, oh, that could be a poster on a wall. That could be a poster, Well,
I love all even the little side characters, like the one guard when Cyril was trying to go in to call Dedra. Remember that?
Yeah.
That guy, like they're believable. On these other shows, some of these other shows, like they just throw some Billy Bob who doesn't know how to act, or that guy way overacts or something.
They overdo it a lot.
Or
of the
they
time.
just they don't, because you got Cyril and then this guy, and that guy was like as intimidating. He reminded me of the guy from like Mandalorian that was I don't remember his name, but he was talking with Pedro Pascal when he took his helmet off, and Bill Burr. Like the weight, like all of these characters have that guy's kind of weight to them in the Empire. You're like, dang, like. Mm-hmm. These guys, they're scary for a reason.
Yeah.
And obviously there's more intrigue to come with Gorman. So I'm guessing we're going to see more of an Imperial presence, because while there was an Imperial presence in those like transports, there weren't like tons of guards everywhere, like compared to other cities. What's that?
Didn't see any stormtroopers.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, the Imperials are all over the place. I'm like, where? Only in Cyril's office.
That's a good point.
It's like they're
they're
watching with the cameras. Yeah, right, so I presume the next time we see it, because of this event, there's going to be stormtroopers. There's probably going to be those transports walking around with people like with guns on them, like we saw on the planet with Bix and Brasso last time. And we didn't even get a mention of Brasso in this one. Disappointed, but
year has passed, I guess, too.
Yeah, right. But
bigger problems. But
where do we go from here?
I think the biggest hope that we can leave off with this is, like we talked about, hopefully this is just a slow burn leading to something massive and something epic. You know, I don't want to say, you know, kind of like what Ahsoka did season 1. It left us off, you know, as a setup to something better, hopefully.
I mean, that's the most credit I can give these ones. But it's a similar situation though. Like it really like the quality of this, just like the quality of Ahsoka season 1, it really does depend on what comes next.
Yeah,
agreed. So I think that's the hope we can kind of leave off with this. We're just hoping for better. What's not great? We didn't love this one. Well, not necessarily a win in our eyes. And hopefully the next ones are better. I think we will get some better stuff here. And if tradition holds, you know, the 7, 8, and 9 will be the best episodes of the entire show. The Narkina 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we get that in this. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we got to start wrapping things up? It's getting late. So anything else you guys want to talk about before we get on out of here?
Nope. Other than the problem is with Andor, they set their own bar really high. Their own bar. Like they're on another level for me of what they can bring. The gravitas with Narkina or the crazy, you know, heist. I even like, you know, Andor with the TIE fighter. The you know, how fun and epic that kind of felt. It kind of really felt Star Wars-y.
Yeah.
Like they know how to deliver it with like movie quality.
Yes.
Like Luthen in the first season when he was flying his ship and he was talking to the Imperial guy on the tractor beam and he reversed and you know, and then spun and well, you know, I mean, they can deliver crazy stuff like that. And I know that they're waiting. I know they're going to give us something. So maybe this one they saved a little bit of the budget. They spent it all on the clothes on this one, and then the next one they're really going to deliver something crazy. I know that they are. I'm obviously optimistic, but for us to have a down week is like, we don't have time for this. It's only 4 weeks, man.
Yeah.
One out of 4 weeks, and we're going backwards. I'm like,
And you already got bad PR after the first 3 episodes, and then you get this
with certain people.
With certain people, I know, not everybody,
but I'm not as inspired. Just here's the gauge for me. I'm not as inspired to go make a bunch of videos right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Or not. I'm not exactly.
No, yeah. I don't even know. Yeah.
I mean, there's stuff. You know, there's stuff. I want to continue the Cyril and Deidre, like, but I'm not gonna, you know, lights out or whatever. But I'm saying like there's, you know, it built a little bit, but like after the sitcom with the mom, you know, the first arc,
that was
that was crazy.
Yeah.
It was so good, and Cyril is still the standout. And when he ate his cereal,
we got that at least.
I'm very grateful for that. It was in the kind of the muck and mire in mid episode 2 of this arc, but it still delivered. You know, it was just like, stay awake. Keep moving.
Yeah. I know.
I did really like Lonnie, though. And I think you guys touched on him just a little bit.
That's a good point.
But he was different, and he made some good moves to help progress some of the action or, you know, the intrigue.
Yeah, even turning
forgot about that.
Her help dude away from Dedra. Like, that's a big move right there because they worked hand in hand together. And for the fact that he's like, I don't need you anymore, basically. And then Lonnie's right there, like whispering in his ear. I was like, wow, that is some good spy stuff right there.
And he was talking back to Luthen.
Arc. Yeah.
And Luthen's about to he's going off the rails now.
Yeah, Luthen
has lost the rails. I think in the next one he's I don't know. He's not going to make it.
He knows they're on the edge, and
everybody's on
edge. I think Tamerkin said it's interesting how the Empire and the Rebellion both want the Gorman uprising to happen. So this stuff is coming to a head, and no one knows exactly how the pieces are going to fall.
Right. And is Luthen, is there some like switch where Luthen is like, he is Uncle Harlow, or he's like Cyril's dad, long lost dad, or some crazy twist that he's actually working for the Empire, or something insane. You know what I mean? Is there any kind of twist that we get mid-season?
I don't think we're going to get that.
Do we need it?
No, I don't think we need it. But I'm just saying, like, this would be crazy. You know, we don't know who Uncle Harlow is. We don't know who Well, we just don't know who Uncle Harlow
We have
is.
to see Uncle Harlow. I hope we see Uncle Harlow.
I mean, they keep leaning into Cyril. Every episode, just about they're leaning into his arc.
Yeah.
Like since the beginning, it was Andor and it was Cyril, and they're going kind of hand in hand, parallels.
Cyril's mom not listening to Dedra though, when she said to stop talking about Uncle Harlow, because didn't she talk a lot more?
Yeah, she still did. I think she felt like she could though because she thought they were separated.
Broken up.
But I did like that that he was giving her some more attitude and was being a lot more confident in himself because he was out in the field doing what he wanted to do. It gave him some confidence boost.
Yeah.
I think that, to put it though, I think that these episodes, if anything, did some tension building. If anything, like hopefully, like there's a lot more tension. Everyone's at their breaking point. The Empire's on edge. Like big things are to come. Now, back to the budget though. Doing some mental math, like each of these arcs almost cost the entirety of Ahsoka. Ahsoka was $100 million.
Although,
overall.
hey, I will push back a little bit on that. Where was Ahsoka filmed? In the United States. They do not have to release the full. They do not have to release the full amount used on the show. The reason that we actually know the full amount for Andor is because they filmed it in the UK and they have to release that information. So I understand what you're saying. I still think they spent a lot and probably too much, but
they probably
at the
spent
same
more
time,
than $100 million. But yeah,
I'm sure they spent more than $100 million just getting the actors they got in that show for Ahsoka.
Like I can tell visually though that they like it's still obviously Andor is way more expensive. It just comes back to the same thing. Like they probably didn't they probably spent more than that, but it's fun to watch this nice looking Andor and whatnot. But why didn't Kenobi? Why didn't Ahsoka? Why didn't Book of Boba get this treatment? Admittedly they don't look as good. Like they just don't look as visually stunning.
And it's because Gilroy is outside of the bubble. He's outside of Lucasfilm, and to get somebody like him from a gravitas, he was like, I want the guy that did the clothes from Chernobyl. He's like a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And he's like, can I get that? And they're like, yeah, you can have that. He's like, all right, and I want to film the whole thing in the UK.
Right.
They're like, I like Pinewood. They're like, okay, and so basically they were bending over backwards to get Tony because he did such a good job on Rogue One and saving them and working with them because they wanted, and Diego Luna, they wanted to work together with Diego, and Diego and him hit it off. So, you know what I mean? They did have faith in Gilroy, whereas I think Filoni is like, he's in-house. So he's like, well, we shouldn't have to spend 300. I could do it for Kathy. I could do it for like 100 million because we'll do it on the volume.
Yeah.
I could do it for, if it's animation, I could do it way cheaper. But, so I feel like Filoni's trying to be nice. And then I feel like whoever show ran Kenobi, who was, I don't even know. Nobody.
Deborah Chow. Yeah, it was
Deborah Chow. Okay, she was already in house too. She was kind of like a sub on Mandalorian. You know what I mean? It wasn't a big name, so like she's not actually demanding that. She's like, we'll do it for like $17 an episode, Kenobi. As long as we get Ewan McGregor, and then Ewan McGregor was probably like, I'll do whatever because he likes Star Wars. She's like, I'll just do it for free, because I'll get royalties.
Yeah, Kenobi was the biggest miss in my opinion. Kenobi
not
still
a brand damage, man.
Dude, that was the dumbest.
You can't just
without a doubt.
Like you did Kenobi, like you can do a season 2 or whatever, but it's never gonna draw the you got one shot for everyone knows who Kenobi is, and that's what you delivered, and you spent $60 million on it. It just doesn't. It's disappointing. I get what you're saying, and that I totally believe that too. And I think they're finally, after all this brand damage, starting to understand that, hey, maybe producing 3 different shows that are mid each year is not the move. Maybe we should go back to movies or do more quality over quantity.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest message that Star Wars needs to get is you need quality over quantity. And just to crank out this stuff, just to crank it out, we're just not getting the quality, and the fans know it. And that kind of brings us right back around to Revenge of the Sith. That's a 20-year-old movie that is making more money than probably any of the Star Wars shows or anything that's come out in a very long time. It's diminishing returns with Disney Star Wars at this point. So definitely get the quality over quantity. And maybe back off for a little while. It's hard for a Star Wars fan to say that, but if we're just going to keep getting more brand damage, then I want you to not damage the brand, hold off, work on something truly great that the fans are going to love. That's more focused in on what is Star Wars and why people love Star Wars. That's what you need to focus on, and what can be a generational story where people want to pass it down to their kids. And that's why Star Wars stood the test of time, is because generations have passed it down. The grandfathers to fathers have passed down their kids, so on. So that's what they need to do. They need to focus. So that's a great point, Bismo. That's a very good point.
Well, like KG said, I want TV and movies. Quality matters. They wanted to fill the queue on Disney Plus, and so I think they broke Lucasfilm. Disney Plus is like, or Disney's like, hey, we're getting Disney Plus. Lucasfilm, we need 82 shows in the next 3 years,
right?
And Lucasfilm's like, we don't have the manpower, we don't have the writers, we don't have the intelligence. So they were freaking out, and they're like, well, look. We expect this, Kathy, or we expect this, Lucasfilm. Get it done. Like, we got to fill up this thing, and then here you go. And then it all falls apart. A couple of them hit. Mando hits, because they had been working on those things for like a longer time. And Tony Gilroy had been cooking up this kind of stuff like his whole life. He said rebellions, insurrections. He like loves the history. So to write it, and then he has an opportunity to write it into a Star Wars show. He didn't really care that it was Star Wars, obviously. He just wanted to write something about rebellion, the ultimate rebellion show, and he got a huge pay, to do it. Yeah. And then he basically it was like, if you want me to do it, I can write it. I know how to write it. I've been researching this my whole life. So you write what you know best. You know what I mean? Not being forced into like, you go write something for Kenobi, Deborah Chow. She's like, oh, okay. I think I remember Obi-Wan. Was he in the prequels? Wasn't he the old guy in the original?
Goes back to who's in charge.
Like, she's not the person to take over Kenobi. I mean, come on. Diego Luna is Andor.
I can't even get him out.
Yeah. I don't know. So I feel like they fell on their face, and again, they were pushed too hard. They need to back off. They're going to obviously back off.
But it seems like we're talking about, well, there's a lack of content. Maybe that's a good thing for a change.
I agree.
Yeah. Maybe. Yep. All right, after this, the next thing that's actually live action is the Mando and Grogu movie. Maybe that's a good thing.
Right, exactly.
And it lets all hands on deck focus on that movie. All the promotion, all of the material that goes toward it. They can solely dive into the movie, give it the clear space to not have any bad PR because some trash show came out 2 months before it,
Right.
Yeah. And after the movie, hopefully if it hits and it's fun, then you can get Ahsoka season 2. Then you can get maybe Skeleton Crew or whatever they got coming out down the pipe. You know what I'm saying? I think you guys are on it. Are they doing Star Wars Celebration? Isn't that the one in California? Is that next year?
27.
No,
27. So after.
I think that's a good move. I think having it every year was also a mistake, because then they feel pressured, like, oh, we got to announce stuff. And part of the reason they announced so many of these movies that just never see the light of the day, and all these other projects, like, it just, they got to. Yeah, Star Wars Eclipse. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Where's the games?
Which by the way, one of the videos I made on that, I got false information. The Twitter account was most likely fake. So I don't even know if they're going to be at Star Wars Celebration, and that is another project that I'll say is doubtful to see the light of day. I'm holding hope that they claim they're working on it, but yeah, that was I got false information.
Yeah.
Bummer.
It's definitely still trying times for Star Wars fans right now. You never know what you're actually going to get. You never know if it's going to be good, if it's going to be not, if they're actually going to deliver on a project, if they're not. There's so many question marks in the world of Star Wars, but the thing you can rely on here is we're going to cover it. Stay on Target will be here having fun talking about it, and Bismo is definitely going to be talking about it and covering it because he's got some excellent content. And I do want to give a shout out here, right? Meow. Go to his channel, subscribe, like, do all the things over there. Tell him we sent you. You're going to have a fun time. If you enjoy this show, I guarantee you'll enjoy anything Bismo puts out because he's always got quality stuff. So thanks for being on the show again tonight, Bismo. We know with your busy schedule going on, it was we greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. I was really hoping that it would have been another big win, because that's what ultimately we want. We want good Star Wars, and I'm holding on hope that this is just the weaker part of the season 2, the critically acclaimed season 2 that I'm waiting to see. So
right. Right, exactly. We'll have to have you back if it does amazingly better.
Yeah. At some point, we'll certainly gotta recap, and I'll be hanging out in the chat because I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say as well. So
Awesome, man. Well, thank you again for being on. Cool. Well, we're kind of hitting the end of the night, so don't forget to, again, to like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Remember, we got War of the Cosmic Tyrants is coming up. We got one Friday, and then we also have the Star Wars special D&D one-off on May the 4th this Sunday. And we're excited to do that with you guys. Plus, there's so much more Star Wars coming, so we are going to be covering as much as we can with you guys and having fun along the way. We got more guests also coming, so look out for that. And anything else, you guys, before we get the gunk on out of here? Fact checker. You still awake over there?
hanging in there.
Just kidding.
I dumped my coffee earlier.
Oh,
so,
no.
you know, there was a sacrifice made.
There was a sacrifice for the show.
Exactly. No, just kidding. Well, let me just end the poll
Yeah.
and let you know.
Yes, thank you.
What the Gonkers voted.
What are the Gonkers saying?
54% are giving it 3 to 3.5 hands. So a little higher than some of us, but maybe on par with Bismo, which is awesome.
Yeah, they're on. Bismo knows the chat.
He's leading the chat.
My rating's going down. I can't believe this. This is nonsense. This is not what I had hoped. No.
It's a setup.
It's
You've
unfair.
been set up.
This is a setup. Yeah, it's unfair.
It's unfair.
I just love it. KG said earlier that she's still shocked that her rating is lower than Bismo's. And I mean, same with us. It's hilarious.
It is hilarious, but you know what?
Next week, I'm bringing one finger, no matter what. No.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Thumbs up.
Right? Right? Thumb?
There you go.
Right?
Yeah. It's we keep it G rated here. KG rated.
We do.
She's
And
watching.
I know. So let's go.
Yeah.
We're onward upward.
Yeah. And we
Episode 7.
We will be back next week doing another live watch along with all of you good people. So come back for that as well. Again, we got Friday, Sunday, and then we'll be back Tuesday for the watch along. I think I've been having so much fun with those. That's been a blast lately. So I'd love to have you guys there and then reviewing it again on Wednesday. There's so much good content to come, and I am excited to be with all of you. All right, cool. Well, I think that pretty much ends the show, everybody. Thanks for tuning in tonight with us. We appreciate all of you. Thanks again, Bismo. You are the man. We appreciate you. Don't forget to like.
Thanks for having me.
Wrong one.
Yeah, dude. Anytime, man. So, all right, cool. Well, we better get the gunk on out of here. It's getting late, people. We don't want to put you to sleep like Andor in some ways. Shots fired. All right, cool.
Okay. At who?
I don't know. Heart cells,
Yeah.
anyone. Andor. Pew, 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 pew.
Oh, man.
All right, guys. We'll catch you next time. Don't forget to always stay on target. All right. Take a sleep, young Skywalker. We got to get the gun out of here. Bye, guys.